T5S2 stands for the Tactical Tortoise Tabletop Simulator Tournament Series. It is a global competitive 40K circuit that ranks players based on their results in online games, including events run by Tactical Tortoise and many other communities. At the end of each biannual season, the top 16 players in the series are given the opportunity to play for the title of Season Champion and become the greatest virtual 40K player in the world in this very event, the Seasonal Invitational Tournament. With over 400 players and dozens of tournaments competing on the ladder in Season 1, T5S2 is now one of the largest and most competitive series in online Warhammer and shows no signs of slowing down. So what are you waiting for? Visit tts40k.com to view live standings, join the community Discord server, and get information on upcoming events and tournaments. There is glory to be won on this virtual battlefield, Commander. Do you have what it takes to compete? Want to get involved in T5S2 or events run by Tactical Tortoise? Visit the Tactical Tortoise Discord server at the link in the video description. There you can find signups for all manner of tournaments and casual games, including the T5S2 Youngbloods series of free, new player-friendly events designed to introduce you to 9th edition and give you a chance to experiment with new lists. For those looking for more competitive action, rapid-fire tournament pods are currently available that award prize support and standings points and help you hone your skills to a knife's edge. And remember to stay tuned for even more exciting events as Season 2 progresses, including team events, online GTs, and free weekly tournament pods launching shortly after the conclusion of this invitational on August 16th. Welcome to the community, and I'll see you on the battlefield. T5S2 stands for the Tactical Tortoise Tabletop Simulator Tournament Series. It is a global competitive 40K circuit that ranks players based on their results in online games, including events run by Tactical Tortoise and many other communities. At the end of each biannual season, the top 16 players in the series are given the opportunity to play for the title of Season Champion and become the greatest virtual 40K player in the world in this very event, the Seasonal Invitational Tournament. With over 400 players and dozens of tournaments competing on the ladder in Season 1, T5S2 is now one of the largest and most competitive series in online Warhammer and shows no signs of slowing down. So what are you waiting for? Visit tts40k.com to view live standings, join the community Discord server, and get information on upcoming events and tournaments. There is glory to be won on this virtual battlefield, Commander. Do you have what it takes to compete? Want to get involved in T5S2 or events run by Tactical Tortoise? Visit the Tactical Tortoise Discord server at the link in the video description. There you can find signups for all manner of tournaments and casual games, including the T5S2 Youngbloods series of free, new player-friendly events designed to introduce you to 9th edition and give you a chance to experiment with new lists. For those looking for more competitive action, rapid-fire tournament pods are currently available that award prize support and standings points and help you hone your skills to a knife's edge. And remember to stay tuned for even more exciting events as Season 2 progresses, including team events, online GTs, and free weekly tournament pods launching shortly after the conclusion of this invitational on August 16th. Welcome to the community, and I'll see you on the battlefield. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first game of the T5S2 Invitational Season 1. This is the beginning of the group stage. The players are deploying. We have over here in the blue Rentar, a.k.a. Ash C, a.k.a. Kian playing Sisters of Battle, versus Dineeth from the land down under, playing the creations of Bile, Pure Chaos Space Marines, bringing 60 Possessed to the table. It's 8th edition all over again. I'm joined by Shuma Cord over here as my co-host. How's it going, Shuma? We'll never know. I've lost him.
Hey.
Hey!
How you doing?
Welcome to the stream.
Excited to see a little bit of the new fight, a little bit of the old right here.
I know, yeah, it's going to be an interesting progression from 8th edition because we have a bunch of old staple units.
What?
You alright over there? We're just copy-pasting battle sanctums right now. So the players are just getting deployed right now. They've worked out their pregame. They've worked out their pregame selections, and they're just going down with their armies. Dineeth already has deployed. Looks like they've forgotten to swip the clock over, so we're going to fix that. Oh, and I've lost my co-host, so I'll have to fix that as well. Apologize, everybody. Welcome back.
Okay, there we go. All right. So what had happened there, why it was on a satellite delay, was you asked me that question through the stream, and I did not realize that
Well, I appreciate you hanging out in stream. I hope the chat's enjoying your company.
I am enjoying the chat's company.
But we are here right at the top of the group stage for the T5S2 Invitational. These are going to be the first 3 rounds of the event. Players have been divided into groups, into 4 groups, and the top 2 players from each group will will advance into the top 8 elimination rounds on August 13th. So each player will play 3 games over the course of the next week and a half or so, and at the end of that, 2 of them from each group are going to be eliminated. So probably going to be a double elimination from these players. They're going to have to win 2 of their games, or not lose 2 of their games in order to qualify for the top 8 invitational. And that's going to be a single elimination 8-player 3-round event that we're going to stream all of over the weekend of August 13th through 16th. But today we are getting started with the first game in the invitational group stages, and I am psyched for this matchup.
I am too.
Kian is deploying right now. Do you want to go over her list real quick, Shuma?
Yeah, I can. I mean, as we had said before, it's a bit of the old style. You got your Sisters with Valorous Heart. You've got your Bloody Rose Repentia. It's a little bit of spiciness in here. Perhaps the first Battle Sanctum I have ever seen. Also, freshly given a new coat of paint when Games Workshop, within its FAQ, gave it a pretty choice selection of keyworded terrain features, making it, honestly, a great way to just block off entire sections of the boards from vehicles. Or just as a way to just, choice hide anything you want anywhere. Though, unfortunately, into the Children of Bile, I don't know that it's doing a lot. But it does, as we said before, it gives that 1 faith point per turn, which is pretty money regardless. Beyond that, the introduction of a Calidus Assassin, pretty interesting choice there. I mean, I think a lot of factions that we're running into now will have, honestly, more CP to work with, as has been sort of Games Workshop's line, and honestly just seems to be the case. And the Calidus Assassin, great for disrupting the first few turns of stratagem use, which oftentimes are the most important. I mean, beyond that, you've got your Exorcists. Exorcists is going to pair, I think, great into the Possessed. Their ability to ignore hit penalties, their, almost guaranteed multi-damage output per weapon. The introduction of blast weapons, firing into these just big, chonky boy units here. It's going to be pretty sick.
Yeah, definitely. 20-mans is a little dangerous, for sure, on Dineeth's side of the table.
And beyond that, you've got Rhinos with Prentia, the double R's there. Also going to be pretty good into this.
Yeah, the
Should
Repentia
pair
can
quite well into Possessed.
certainly trade up really hard into the Possessed. Repentia swinging with flat 2 damage weapons is exactly what you want to take out those 200 Possessed units. And the Repentia just do what Repentia do, right? Is they just kill models that are worth way more points than they do before they die.
They may have lost a little bit of their ability to one-round Knights, but fun fact, Possessed, not Knights.
Yeah.
No, much shorter.
Yeah. We are going to see if Dineeth has a couple abilities he can use to keep those Possessed alive. He can give an additional or a -1 to hit to units within 6 inches of them, although I don't believe that will affect the Repentia because they do have an innate -1 to hit anyway. But it will matter for some of the other units that could potentially get into melee with them. They can also they can obviously get a couple different buffs for additional toughness. Which, fortunately, against the Strength 6 Repentia isn't going to make a huge difference.
No, unfortunately, they're kind of keying right perfectly to the stat line of the Possessed. So what I'm expecting to see is maybe a bit of a broad deployment on a single squad that's going to try and take the brunt of the Repentia, and the rest will just countercharge into them. One of the things that you do lose in 9th with Repentia is a lot of that stretch distance. You can't really stretch back to the buffing characters. Oftentimes you're starting to see, priests just not being taken. You can't easily, stretch back to canonesses. Your ability to just face plant directly to the enemy is, slightly taken down by the fact that you're actually an inch short at this point. The Rhinos is now, deployment out of a vehicle is now fully within 3 inches. It's not just within 3 inches. So previously, you could tow like 1 atom of that 98mm base within 3 inches, which effectively it was a 4-inch deployment for all intents and purposes. But these days, I mean, in a game of inches, that is 1 less.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely doesn't help that you have to then probably burn 1 higher miracle die on that first turn to get that first hit off with that Repentia unit to ensure that you get those good charges. That said, much smaller board we're playing on right now, and the objectives certainly force a combat right in the center of the table, and that's exactly where Repentia want to be. Repentia, if they get out-threaded, they don't really do anything, but in this day and age, you do have to move into their threat range to actually accomplish anything. And even if the Sororitas army isn't always the most hardy thing on the table. They are pretty difficult to kill, but I mean, again, it's a bunch of toughness 3 ladies, and especially Repentia, once they're out of the Rhino, are immediately going to die. But what they can do is force you to reconsider going into that, those center objectives, because they're just going to be able to clean you up.
I expect in this game to see quite a few charge-countercharge plays going on. It'll be interesting to see who moves in first.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of the units that will be countercharging these Repentia, we should talk about Dineeth's list, because it is a spicy one that we have for you today, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat. I want to thank everybody for taking the time. It is a bit of a late one over where we are on the Eastern Time U.S., but I am excited to cast it, and I do appreciate everyone in the chat who's taken the time to view the first game of the T5S2 Invitational. But one player for whom it is not that late is Dineeth, because he is in Australia, so it's a bit of a time difference there. But he's running, like we said before, Creations of Bile list, 100% Chaos Space Marines, no demons, no Thousand Suns to be found, and this is a real interesting
I'd like to make one correction. Possessed do have the demon keyword.
Oh, so that's true. That's fair.
There are quite a few demons here.
They are chaos models, and they are demon models, but they are not in fact chaos demon models.
That keyword though might actually come up.
It will for sure. He's bringing an Exalted Champion as well as Fabius Bile as the Warlord in order to unlock that special Legion keyword. He has 2 units of Chaos Space Marines to fill out his troops allotments. He's bringing 2 patrols. So we're trying to keep it really tight here and not spend very many CP. His first patrol is bringing 2 units of Havocs with Mark of Slanesh so that they can Endless Cacophony to fire those las cannons twice, each of them 4 las cannons, just to force your opponent to have to... you're not allowed to sit back against this list, because those
interesting choice for 2.
Kill you. Yeah, for sure. And I've seen
redundancy.
I've seen 1 in Alpha Legion lists pretty often, because you can conceal them and you can sort of keep them alive for as long as possible. But as soon as you're outside of that, they are going to be susceptible to counterattack. I wonder if Dineeth is just hoping to, keep them play relatively cagey with them, and hope that you have to deal with these possessed before you have the firepower to shoot at the Havocs if sitting in the back edge of the table.
It is going to be a choice to have to make.
Yeah, for sure. So 2 units of Havocs with 4 las cannons each. The second Batrep bringing in a Master of Possession as well as a Sorcerer to give access to some delicious warp time action. Bit of an interesting combination there is that you can, at the start of your movement phase, use the stratagem. It's a Macrotensile Sinews, I believe is what it's called, that allows a unit to advance and charge out of Creations of Bile, and then advance and charge advance and charge with +1 to its advance roll and its charge roll. So if you combat that with warp time, you're also going to get an additional +1 on that if it advances with its warp time move as well. So you can get some really insane threat ranges out of these possessed units. They're going to be moving 16 plus 2d6 and then an additional 2d6 +1 on the charge for a real long charge off that. And then we have 3 units of possessed with 20 possessed each, so 60 total possessed on the table. Gonna buff all those guys up with the Cursed Earth from the Master Possession. He also has mutated Invigoration on his Master Possession as well, which is gonna allow him to, if that Psychic Power goes off, reroll the number of attacks that you make with a possessed unit, which is gonna help a lot, I think.
Yeah, and one thing that may not be great into the possessed stat line is those 2 damage swings, but sitting on a 4-up invuln, I mean, sometimes you could just go HUD, take almost no casualties, and then, wipe out the entire Repent unit on the return.
Mm-hmm.
They really rely on that fight twice.
Yeah.
And 20 possessed is not the easiest thing to kill before you can get back to your fight twice. And you leave 5-10 of those in the unit, they'll kill the entire Repent back before they can spend the strat.
For sure. There's a question in the chat about the Battle Sanctum overlapping the edge of the deployment zone here. Obviously, it's a big plinth. It goes right over the deployment zone. But in the 9th edition rules, if you don't fit inside your deployment zone, you can now place your unit. So it basically touches the edge of your deployment zone. And the restriction there is that you just can't move on the first turn. Not a big deal if you're a building, because it's not going anywhere anyway.
Does that lift the restriction for not being able to deploy within 2 inches of another terrain piece? Those fortifications have?
I believe that it does.
I gotta imagine, because the rules for not being able to place probably would include not be able to place because of that restriction as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how you place, say, what is it, the Dark Angels Sanction of Cruise Missile?
Yeah, Fortress of Redemption?
Yeah, that's the one. The thing that's larger than the deployment zone of any map.
Any coherency issues, just put
I don't even know how you place that in that scenario. How do you... I guess you put it sideways?
Make it big. Just a big old schlong right up the middle of the table for sure.
There are certainly Valorous Heart Sisters sitting near an Imagifier certainly can hold on when getting hit with these -2 possessed attacks, but not nearly as many of these Valorous Heart Sisters as I would have expected.
Yeah, that is a big concession that you have to make. This is definitely like an 8th edition Sisters list that has been upgraded to 9th. And you have to make some concessions with those points increases. And it looks like the one that Rentar has done is to knock a lot of the infantry out of the list. She's kept the 3 Exorcists. She's kept Celestine in there. She's kept the Repentia and the Rhinos.
I'm surprised she kept the Rhinos themselves.
Yeah. Well, I think, unfortunately, you run into the odd Thunderfire Cannon or Rapier Carrier now, and it just blasts all those ladies off the table without a Rhino with them, unfortunately.
That can be a problem. Although they are an excellent outflank choice.
They are pretty strong in the outflank, yeah, because you can confirm the charge. That said, it does give your opponent some control over what you're able to charge. At least with the Rhino, you do have the ability to sort of project a lot to wherever you want to be going.
That is true, though there are some interesting hijinks. You could just, specifically with the Repentia, I mean, coming on from your own table edge and still touching the middle of the board is a possibility.
About something real quick. Doesn't affect anything so far. My miracle die.
Not an easy one.
Start of round.
Right.
But it's there.
One info.
So Dineeth, I think, doing what he needs to, just blasting up the table his full distance with all of these possessed, their characters right in the middle to keep them relatively buffed up. I am a little bit worried about the potential of a... what are we doing here? Switching the deployment zones around?
It'd be a lot easier for the battle sign to place now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm a little bit worried for the potential of Happy's Bile just getting shot right now. Oh, yeah, I mean, what are the chances they can just kill 20 possessed and then shoot this man right here?
Feel free to control Z if you like.
Not even 20. I guess you'd have to kill 20 to get like the two in front of him. That is one of the big issues now with
Like we accidentally
characters.
changed the mission.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that was tragic.
I tried to change the mission to hide the thing, and then it took that as starting the mission. Just pressing the start button.
Anyway, it's not enough time, so I'll just keep moving. Next unit possessed at the back will advance 6, so 13.
Well, I think we're just going to have to deal with that for right now. Good job, everyone. You're nailing it.
So you just let me know where I have to move these. That's right. Whenever you're ready, just let me know when where I have to move these.
So I would be worried, I think, if I were Dineeth, about that 4+ deny from the sisters in the front there. I don't know if he's measured that out and it stayed outside of the range, but that's certainly what I would be worried about. And it looks like trying really hard to get around this Exorcist line of sight.
Oh, it's not doing a whole lot when they can just move and shoot now.
Yeah, move and shoot for free without even having to spend that stratagem. It's going to be brutal on this first turn.
Yeah.
Dineeth can, I believe, increase the toughness on those, whichever unit gets hit first by 1 with the stratagem, to at least make those Exorcist missiles hit wound on 3s instead of 2s. But that's sort of, I think, kind of a small mercy when you're getting it with 3 of them.
I have a sneaking suspicion one of these Exorcists, however, may... Oh, no.
Whoa, what just happened?
Okay. All right, everybody. We're going to have to reset here real quick.
Okay,
if we leave now, we can still keep the game state for, say, the saving
so
purposes.
just delete that piece.
Huh. Oh, no.
It's got the sponsor and everything. I don't know.
I'm just going to go to an autosave.
Yep.
Yep, go for it.
This secondaries. That's a good shot. So,
Alright, they're all standing up. This looks good. Still on the deployment zones, but, you know, it's okay.
Stop moving again, sorry. Are you experiencing a lot of lag?
it's the problem with Trevi being on the East Coast, you being in Australia, and me being in Singapore.
Yep. So this is like pretty monumentally laggy for me as well. Oh, there we go. Nice, thanks.
That's one way to get rid of those.
Okay, we are back live.
Alright.
We reverted to a previous game state here.
That's quite the experience.
After the players unlocked the table. So there you go.
Ash C managed to right-click and delete the deployment zones. So
yeah, we're going up in the world. All right.
Okay.
So we're doing it. We're at the top 16 of the
Manual
best players, the best online players in the world, I think, for online 40K, and we're still unlocking the table, everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Look, I've been playing 40K for, I think, perhaps decades at this point. I still don't fully understand how tables work. I mean, like, I've never made one. I've never, like, pretended. I've never gone to a furniture store and told somebody what their job was, you know? I just do stuff on top of the table.
Those tables can all see it.
As I was saying right before all that happened, I kind of suspect one of these exorcists may simply not be there on by the time Ash C's turn rolls around.
Yeah, if these last cannons do their work, for sure.
Yeah.
They have to get line of sight, though, and that's going to be tough. I'm not really sure if there's any way that they can reliably do it. The
A 6-inch march to the right, I believe, should be able to place them. They're just looking right over the Rhino in black. Though I could be wrong.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, the Rhino on the on Ash's left-hand flank there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably.
That's not really blocking. It's just.
Right.
It's just
The X is just too tall to get blocked by Rhino for sure.
One thing I am noticing though is these possessed are really just man-moding right up the middle. All
They're going in
there.
I think the part of the hope of this possessed list is that you can't kill 60 of them.
Yeah.
I hope you'll probably kill 40, but that last unit will get there and tear you up.
I don't know if that's even a wrong take.
Yeah, for sure. And while you're doing it, right, you can't just walk up to these possessed and go fight them because they're gonna kick the crap out of you. So while they're doing their man at the table.
I mean, you can. I feel like there's if anything can, it's just a lady with Nikes and a chainsaw.
It's maybe a Repentia for sure.
Anyway, because of this thing blocking.
This giant Imagifier that lives inside of the Battle Sanctum, it's got like a 36-inch range on its aura.
Right. Yeah, when you scale it up 6 times.
Yeah.
Nope.
I like the 120mm base.
So let's talk about the secondary picks for these players quickly.
Yeah.
Dineeth has taken, I think, 2 very standard ones, Assassinate and Engage on all fronts. When you're going first with such an aggressive list, Assassinate makes a ton of sense. The interesting one that he's picked is While We Stand, We Fight, which I think will just basically just hit all his characters. We'll hit Fabius Bile and his casters probably.
Well, it's not just units, is it not?
No, it's models. You pick your most expensive models.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah, so Fabius Bile is 95. And his Master Possession and his Sorcerer, I guess. Yeah. Seems a little dicey, to be honest. He was asking Kian before the game started whether or not she could shoot characters, and obviously she doesn't really have any way to. But you can certainly just get up there with a chainsword and hit him.
Well, I mean, you do have to wade through quite a few.
7, I get it. So
Maybe 6 out of 10 models from Games Workshop's repertoire, but it's not undoable. That fight twice on Repentia could certainly just clip out all 4 of them at once.
Yeah,
You managed
for sure.
to sneak right in there. I got to imagine that these extras just move out, blast 36 shots into the central possessed, and it just leaves these guys right open. Like, they're so aggressively positioned right now.
Warp time and see if it costs me more.
Yep, it does.
Warp time, that's okay.
That's a
So it looks
scary
like
placement on Fabius.
Dineeth failed the warp time here, and Calidus Assassin, he's burned a CP to reroll it, and Calidus Assassin ate an additional one of his CP.
Oh no, off to a good start already.
Brutal.
Fabius tries his best though. I mean, he's been doing this for 10,000 years. He rolls with the punches. Every time he gets decapitated by like an angry lady with like one of those things you use to cut branches off a tree, he like respawns inside someone. Yeah, he like respawns inside someone else's body and just like keeps going. You know, he gets back to work. He gets back on that horse.
It won't be able to shoot, right? Because this will be obscured.
I mean, the battle sanctum isn't obscuring.
He's like the main character in a Dark Souls game,
It's okay.
played by someone who's kind of bad at it.
Sorry, I see. Okay, no, I understand. So
That's
you
fine,
can move.
Yeah, because basically the angle I set it at was to make sure that from this side, no matter where you're shooting, you're lined up with the pillars, which would block your line of sight. to this part of the exorcist.
Okay, nice. That's okay. So these havocs, I got the feeling of pain.
There's one foible of the Battle Sanctum in
Okay,
TTS.
I'm just going to the exorcist.
Much more line of sight blocking than the one in real life.
So full as.
Yeah, definitely.
Three.
Just using it to even be able to cut off this 2-inch zone that's between these two sort of areas of line of sight. I'm pointing basically between the ruin that's on objective 3 and the area terrain in Kian's deployment zone. Just using it to do that is a really heads-up play for sure.
Yeah.
And she definitely needs those exorcists alive. Like, that's the
100%
most important models on the table. We got Stephen Kelly with a subscription. Thanks for subscribing.
Boasty.
No, that's all right. You're up.
So it looks like that's going to be it for Dineeth's turn. No warp time from him, so he's just going to be chilling for a bit.
Oh, shooting the Havocs didn't bother to.
Yeah, I don't think they. So I don't think they have any good shots right now.
You can see a Rhino with a pension inside of it.
Yeah, that is true. Did we just not do that? I guess we didn't. All right. Yeah, definitely. And these Havocs behind this area terrain, this is not line of sight blocking, so they're just chilling.
Hopefully the player does not think that it is.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
Yeah.
So now, one sort of interesting idiosyncrasy of this deployment on Scorched Earth is that if you're not using the area terrain in the center to block LOS to your vehicles, it can be difficult for your vehicles to actually escape from the ruins.
I was wondering about this earlier with these Rhinos. Like,
yeah, so we did discuss it earlier, and the
nowhere.
Rhinos can leave through the front door here, but they have to physically move over this piece of terrain, basically. So this kind of jutting rebar we measured as 2 inches tall, and the Rhino has to literally physically climb it, and then be able to traverse forward and then move down again. So they can still move out of there if they really want to. It's just going to cost them a whole boatload of movement.
Yeah.
And that is something that was true in 8th edition. A lot of people sort of discounted it, but vehicles could always just climb buildings.
Oh, I knew, but there's so much. It's the going up, then the going down, and then also it's got like topographically strange. You run into that the coastline paradox, if you've ever heard of that, where as you more and more accurately measure an uneven surface, it increases in width and length exponentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Until you're measuring the distance between atoms, and it turns out the thing actually has to move billions of miles to get to the other side. So just, unless you're just climbing up a wall that's perfectly straight and then back on the other side, it's just a hassle.
Yeah, for sure. So here comes the Repentia. Looks like we're bailing out, and I think we're going to get probably a charge onto this unit that's chained back to Objective 5, I imagine.
I got to imagine. Oh, man, that's Fabius Bile is just... This man's a danger.
He is going face.
The character deployment here is so risky. Oh, okay, maybe not though. Maybe we'll. My worry is you just put the Repentia directly in front of this guy. Just put 3 exorcists into the unit in front of him, walk around them, and carve out every character in this list at once.
Yep.
And that would be utterly crippling.
Yeah. That's certainly a danger. So, talking about the Kian secondaries here, she's taken Grind Them Down, which is what a ballsy play. It seemed to me like Grind Them Down is usually pretty good against Sororitas. It's not something typically that I would take as Sororitas, I think. Because it requires you to get more kills than your opponent, and you have a billion individual models that they're going to be able to score it off of.
I suppose we should probably explain what these secondaries are since this would be like
fair.
Second or third.
Yeah, that's true.
Ninth game on the channel.
Yeah. So on Dineeth's side, he is like we mentioned before. He's taking While We Stand, We Fight, which picks the 3 most expensive models in his army, and he will get 5 points at the end of the game for each one of those he has remaining alive. So
That's what you take if you're playing knights.
Yeah, if you're playing any big, heavy vehicles that are hard to kill, that's a pretty good one because you can usually pretty safely net 5 or 10 points off of that, which is pretty respectable for any of the secondaries. He's also taking Assassinate, which gives him 3 points every time he destroys an enemy character.
Good old Headhunter.
Yeah, basically Headhunter out of ITC. You just need to kill 5 characters to max that out, and Kian has 7, so I think he has a pretty good chance of scoring some good points on there.
Yeah, one of the easier ones to max out. A lot of the ones are, you'll stop at 13 or 14, but that one's just a solid,
For sure.
If you're in a good position, you just take the full 15 on that one regardless.
Yep. Then last on Dineeth's picks, he has Engage on All Fronts, which is sort of like Recon in ITC. It requires you to have units completely within 3 different table quarters on the board. So it's a little harder than Recon was.
And not within, 6 inches of the middle? 9?
Is there a restriction on the middle?
Yeah, there, or at least, unless they changed it in the GT packet. There definitely was in the rulebook missions.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yep. Yeah, you could not easily grab it just by flooding the middle of the board. You actually had to be kind of like representationally in each corner.
Yep. And it is completely within, rather than just towing, which is usually how you would score Recon on ITC. That made Recon one of the easiest secondaries to score. But this one
much harder
to
get in.
A lot tougher.
Yeah.
A lot tougher. You have to be more than 6 inches from the center of the battlefield. Yeah. You are correct. So that does make that one a little bit harder to get, but unfortunately on this wide deployment style that Surround and Destroy has, that's pretty easy to do because all you basically have to do is be inside these buildings in the middle, and then you're going to be 6 inches from the center.
Yeah. It's also easier, I have found, with the new morale rules, to just end up with units that are 2 or 3 models in size.
Right, yeah.
Super easy to hide, not worth shooting at, not worth dedicating the time to, and they can just, hang out, score your points.
Yep. On Kian's side, she's taking Grind Them Down, which, like we said before, basically it gives you kill more from ITC. So at the end of each battle round, if you destroyed more enemy units than friendly units were destroyed, then you will get 3 victory points. So you need to do that all 5 rounds in order to max it. But if you are playing in a relatively conservative list into a list that's very aggressive and has a lot of small units, that's a very good one to take.
Yeah.
In this matchup, though, it's
a little weird.
Units of 60 possessed or units of 20 possessed are not the easiest to kill all at once, whereas units of 8 or 9 Repentia absolutely are.
Yeah.
So it seems like a bit of an odd choice to me, to be honest.
Rhinos are easy to clip out. I mean, the Havocs here will just be probably picking up a vehicle a turn once, the game kind of starts to fully engage. You might be assuming that take out a full 1 or both full Havoc units and a full possessed unit. That kind of it's a high trade. Like, you're not just killing 1 more than your opponent. You're killing 1 more than your opponent plus 2 or 3, which is not something you can sustain for the full length of that. You're not going to get the full 15 because you'll have tabled them by the time you have 9.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you said, it's kind of an odd choice for such a fragile MSU-style army.
Yeah. Next up for Kian, she's taken Raise the Banners High, which gives you an action your infantry can do on objectives as long as there are no enemy units on that objective, and which is completed at the end of your turn, and that will give you a banner on that objective, and at the end of each of your subsequent turns, or at the start of each of your subsequent turns, you'll score a point for each banner that you have currently active. Again,
also strange.
A bit of an odd one because it's a good one typically if you have 3 objectives that you can pretty reliably play for, because that gives you a good opportunity to score it out all 5 rounds. If you can get 2 to 3 points every round, all 5 rounds of the game, it's gonna rack up a bunch of points, and you're gonna have a pretty good score on that secondary. In this one, there's only 2 that she's gonna be able to reliably put banners on, which are the 2 in her deployment zone. The other 2, as soon as the objective is taken from you, you immediately lose the banner. So the other 2, I think, will be contested pretty often, so you're probably not going to reliably get banners there. And even in a matchup like this, there's a potential that, round 3 or 4, if there's some possessed that break through, they can come in and just punch all the rhinos off that objective and take your banners off. And
it's such a... I got to imagine that this is like an experience play. Like, you're not running into very many 60 possessed Fabius Bile style lists, really ever. And that probably looks good from a traditional standpoint of just the Repentia bombing out, pushing someone back into their own deployment zone. They're playing on the defensive, they're the gun line. But you kind of got to be nimble when you're choosing your secondaries, because I cannot see that performing well here.
Right, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I think a lot of people have sort of taken that one just as kind of their throwaway pick. Especially as the defensive player, it's very difficult to pick secondaries reliably because the attacking player gets to take up so much board space. We didn't see that quite as much in this matchup because the possessed sort of faltered a little bit and it didn't get their warp time off and just kind of stood around. But a lot of times you can see there are armies in the game that can push almost to your deployment zone on the top of one, and it's very difficult to push out of your deployment zone from there. Oh, here comes the Exorcist shooting. This is exciting.
It's an interesting placement on the Repentia here. They seem like they're trying to completely overwhelm a single one of the units, but that's just going to result in one squad, dicing out half the units, but then the rest will have no attacks. This is 100% sure what.
Oh wait, this is a
it
full
is
squad
there.
possessed, right?
Yes.
So I don't need to roll. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
6.
so here comes the
I got
Exorcist
3 more
maxing their
shots.
shots.
Of course.
Getting
That's
the big blast. So, yeah, it is an interesting play, for sure. And I wonder if Kian, she knows that one of those Repentia units is going to connect, and it's going to absolutely plaster possessed unit. And basically from there, the Repentia can just play the trading game, where they go in with a billion attacks and they hit a possessed unit. Then Dineeth has to turn around and actually commit attacks to kill the Repentia, and then you just get to send the next one in and do the same thing.
Depends. One, as you were highlighting before, these possessed have a pretty long threat range. I got to imagine, like, a unit of 20 of them can slam into 2 or 3 of these squads at the same time, and honestly, probably gut at least 2 of them.
Yeah, I do think that's probably what's likely to happen, and for that reason, I actually don't think that Kian is going to send more than 1 or maybe 2 Repentia units into this possessed unit on the left-hand flank, because the other 2 units that are going to be farther away are going to be, pretty, more effectively screened by both the obstacle building in the center and the units that you'll have there. So if this Repentia unit is able to get up, for example, and charge and sort of end their charge spreading out around this obstacle, it's tough for the possessed to get far enough back to hit the other Repentia units, and she just gets to set up that trade at this point. That said, it seems a little aggressive to me. I think I would much rather have those Repentia still be in rhinos, because you're not taking sort of incidental damage at that point. Repentia will just die to bolt guns, and there's random bolt guns in this list that Dineeth is going to be able to put into them, which are kind of expensive casualties that Kian doesn't want to take.
Kills one.
Fabius Bile himself has the Zooclose Needler, which is a 3-shot pistol.
There you go.
Yeah, strength 2, AP minus 2, 2 damage. I think it wounds things on 2s.
Yeah, is it a poison? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, it looks like we're starting to see these possessed get ripped up here by these blasting Exorcist launchers. Oh boy.
One thing we aren't seeing, though, is Havoc's getting blasted.
Yeah. I wonder if that's sort of the interesting question that this list asks in play. Is are you gonna shoot at my my Havocs, or are you gonna shoot at these possessed who are about to potentially ruin your entire day? There's an insane roll from this Exorcist as well. It's just 12 hits. Easy game.
There's only 2 units in the game that always score 12 hits, and that's Exorcists and Manticores.
Oh, do you dictate that?
Ooh.
Or do I dictate it?
Do whichever order.
Oh yeah, exactly what I did. Cool. Heavy bees. So 4-ups. Be good.
Well, at least Dineeth shrugs the heavy bolter shots from that extra test. This is the one he needs. Ooh, man, that wasn't great.
No.
Oh boy.
Oh, is he not sitting on Cursed Earth with this unit?
I guess not.
Again.
That's a bad look.
Yeah.
Oof.
This is a lot of damage.
Yeah, you do not need the Dead Lady Parade if you score mostly 5s under damage anyway.
Oh, sorry. Front squad. Okay.
Interesting. The Kian is splitting her fire between these two possessed units. I actually think you might want to dump into one right now. Because most of these, the effects on these guys are going to be big auras.
Yeah.
They're not really going to be
Well,
like single target buffs.
there is one reason to split your fire, and that's to decrease the alpha strike capability of any one of the squads singly,
Yeah.
which then allows you a much better fight back
For sure.
in the assault phase.
Yeah, that said, I mean, these are Repentia, right? If there's more than like 4 possessed punching them, they're probably going to die.
Yeah, I mean, they got like t-shirts on. They got
They get a 5-up invulnerable.
yeah.
Sometimes they get a 4-up
Pretty good.
invulnerable. That's okay.
Sometimes that's what the possessed apparently are sporting today.
Yeah, it doesn't help if you don't make any, though.
No.
Ooh.
You got Celestine over here hanging out. You know, she brings these birds to every war zone. Kind of feel bad for those birds. Sometimes they're asked to fight in like underwater, or like places with no atmosphere.
Yep.
But yeah, they're tough birds.
Oh. Ah yes, my cannonet over here. It's gonna shoot that same squad, try and kill off that wonder guy. It's
So this is a pretty big shellacking of these
Yeah.
of these possessed so far. But I think we saw that coming. And now that all of the Repentia are out of the rhinos, right? All the chips are on the table, just outside of this assassin.
I suppose the other reason to split your fire is so that you can have a follow-up turn of all max damage blasts as well.
That's true. That's fair. Allows you a little bit more for sure.
I'm gonna start with them.
Oof.
Charging possessed squad 1.
Mm-hmm.
6.
So here comes the first Repentia squad. Just barely makes it. Almost exacties with a 6-inch charge onto objective 4. We'll see if Kian decides to charge anything else in there.
Cannonet is gonna charge possessed squad 1. That's
Not this
gonna-
Canoness. She's
Yeah.
tired. It's been a long day. She shot her gun. You know.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all.
Repentia
We're good.
squad 1 is going to charge your squad.
But those
1.
guns look like they would weigh hundreds of pounds.
I think
Yeah.
they do. Yeah. Looks like the second Repentia squad just makes it in as well. Who needs miracle dice? You just roll dice. It's fine.
I just don't feel good about the this charge here though.
Yeah, for sure. The first unit, I guess, you do force some interesting decisions from Dineeth in terms of his casualties. He can, I guess, just pull out of the back and then interrupt, but that just means he's going to eat more damage from the second swing. But we'll see if he's able to. We'll see if he's able to, actually fight well with an interrupt.
Yeah, without the preacher, without the full suite of buffs, Repentia do hit pretty hard, but they really depend on that fight twice. So sending 2 units in, 3 units now. I mean, this might just be a full play to try and get everything out of this objective and steal it.
Yeah, I mean that's how you win big, right? And these players, like I mentioned before, it's going to be a double elimination essentially. And so even if you
there is a missionary. I was looking top down. He's hanging out under this little awning here.
One of them dumped out of the
Never mind that.
rhino. Yeah. They are souped up.
The full payload.
They're all in. Yeah.
What strength are you swinging at?
Yeah, right now strength.
Strength
This
is
is
high enough.
interesting. Ooh, I'm noticing it looks like Dineeth's possessed didn't quite highlight correctly.
Not strength.
from the Battlescribe to TTS highlight here, and
they already
the possessed on objective 4 are a mix of 2 different units.
No.
So it looks like this may be a really, really good engage from Kian.
Well,
so yeah, it's like half this unit that's strung back to objective 5 and half of this unit that's in the center.
Okay.
what happened to me? You know, what happened to me about 4 years ago. I was driving in a tunnel, going south on 95. I got rear-ended by a semi. You know, it was an interesting experience. Car was totaled. I was actually okay, but I feel like I'm gonna have come out of this a lot better than these possessed are about to.
Yeah, I think the possessed may have a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah,
No, but
this is a head-on collision right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised that Dineeth moved through this ruin, to be honest, with this unit that's strung back to objective 5. That felt a little aggressive to me, because you can block off a lot of real estate using the edge of this obstacle here, and then just also keep them in sort of an awkward position for line of sight and make that unit a little bit harder to hit.
This feels almost like just a matchup knowledge gap. Like playing into Repentia, you really need to sort of lean on the fact that they can only engage your front line at once, and
Yeah,
just like
I'm not sure I'd say that. I think Dineeth is a good player.
yeah.
And I'll give Dineeth the benefit of the doubt here. Yeah, yeah. He's
I'm
also
sure
he's on
he has seen this list
WGC's
before.
team Australia as well. I think he's got the chops.
Well, if he's on Australia, he's used to just playing 280 orcs in every single game. So like, maybe he's just never seen Sister Spirit. I also know what it's like to get real punch drunk off the resilience of like a strange, counter meta list.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just assume your armor is a little thicker than it is, but I could be proven wrong at any point. Although there's a lot of force here.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
All right, even distribution there.
So 10.
Ugh. No.
So just double check.
10 possessed go down to that swing.
I'm gonna be honest, that is
no.
less than I was expecting.
Well, yeah, I mean, invulnerable saves are the one thing that will save you against a Repentia Chainsword, but...
And now you what? I don't know, he's pulling from the front. I was gonna say you pull from the back and then swing back in on the squad that did not hit you yet.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be trying to keep...
Yeah, just get out completely.
Yeah, to keep one of those squads from not swinging. Obviously, Kian couldn't afford to declare multiple units with her Repentia, because she does have to engage them if she charges.
Yeah.
Which is always a little awkward. So, yeah, maybe just trying to make it so that they can't swing. And it does look like I think he's going to get out of range of this green unit.
So 1, 2, 3, 6, 7.
And he's still going to be able to swing into the front unit. With the possessed that are remaining, so not the worst.
So that is still fine.
All right, we're getting there a little bit,
8, 9.
and some go from the back as well. And then we'll notice as well, I keep getting comments on my YouTube videos about this, but everybody wants to call somebody out for being out of coherency with the new rules. But if you'll notice, the way Dineeth strung his models, they've all strung so that they're basically touching each other. That means that there's no way that these guys will not be within 2 inches of
These two are overlapping. They're so they're so familiar with one another.
We're getting real handsy over there.
Yeah.
Brendolf's in the chat. It is late night 40K.
These ones here.
For some people,
No
it's
boy.
early morning 40K.
No boys on this table though, sadly.
Yeah, no
These
boys.
ones, yeah.
No boys in the entire tournament. No Xenos besides Eldari at all,
So there we
which
go.
is very sad.
On the plus side, we got some leaks for some of the new chunky Necron units.
Those new chunky Necron units, they do look pretty good.
That's fine.
Yeah, what is
I'm
it?
a little
Super heavy
disappointed
destroyers?
that the big heavy, the Locust heavy destroyer only shoots 1 time with its anti-tank gun. That's gonna be that's a Necron gun if I've ever seen one.
I'm a
It's
little
very powerful
disappointed.
and very easy to be frustrated with.
I'm a little bit disappointed that the new Walker is
These ones, just checking
a Doomsday Arc.
Yeah.
Almost stat for stat with the same gun. But, it's a cooler looking Doomsday Arc.
For sure.
So I'm okay with that.
I'll say I would have taken him instead of Attack.
Sometimes you get a model that's just an old model but looks way better, and, it's better because it's better.
Alright.
Oh, it looks like we got an interrupt here coming at, from this possessed unit number 2. Going to try to wipe out this Repentia unit that hasn't swung yet. And I think that's
a question though. If you're
the counterattack of the century here,
if you're going to do that, why pull from the front with the first squad then?
Because it stops green unit from being able to attack at all.
But green unit already declared a charge. I mean, it's going to activate, move 3 inches, and still attack this squad here, isn't it?
It didn't declare.
Oh no, you're
squad
right.
2. Yeah,
They
so
were
squad
not
number
declared
1
target.
is the squad on the left. Squad number 2 is the squad on the right, and it could not have declared squad number 2 because it would have had to make contact with them.
It's this.
Thanks to
See,
those
I'm used to
sweet
living in the
charges.
galaxy brain zone of 8th edition. I gotta like think in the small box.
Yeah.
I gotta get back in that box. I was too busy thinking outside of it. You know?
Yeah. Looks like there's some questions in chat
unfree
about
my
the
mind.
map. This is the T5S2 Invitational does use some non-standard rules for deployment. Basically, we're using the 8th edition style of deployment in ITC, where the attacker has to set up their whole army first and go first, but the defender gets to choose a deployment zone. So far, we found that the attacker has a really big,
Quite
benefit
huge.
going first, in 9th edition 40k. So we've moved to this deployment style where the one deployment zone is much more heavily fortified than the other. So the attacker usually takes a lot of table space, but doesn't really get to hit much on the first turn. But the defender can move out then and attack from relative safety going on the second turn. So we do have a lot of obscuring terrain on this defender side of the table, and obviously this battle sanctum is not part of the table. That was was added by one of the players. So there's
It's
even more.
It's a more tactical way to consider it. I mean, a lot of people will say that like the trading off on deployments like per unit mitigates the go first advantage, but in truth it doesn't really. Because I mean that first player still gets, especially now that vehicles no longer take move penalties. I mean you have almost unmitigated alpha strike into the opponent. There's honestly less line of sight blocking terrain in the new rules than there were previously. And anecdotally, and from everything that we've seen, going first does seem to just be a significant advantage right now. In a way that does feel like it needs a little bit of tweaking. And I mean, defender going second, but getting to deploy second entirely was just a creation of ITC 2020. It already was a bit of a deviation, but one that I think most players really enjoyed.
Oh, there we go. So this possessed swing back, wipe out that unit of Repentia. I think down to 1.
That is some spice.
Boom.
And
All right.
She's gonna fail that leadership check.
I
and
wasn't
just
sure
walk
about
away.
Dineeth's position here,
Yeah.
but I think he navigated it well enough. And
Agreed.
And this has spun right back around.
This push up with all 3 Repentia squads just feels like
that was surprising to me
putting-
for sure.
you're putting your you're saying guns on the table, but you accidentally just take your belt off.
Right, yeah, the gun fired when you slammed it down and you bounced off a wall and hit you. We do have back to the original discussion about the terrain chat. The other deployment zone also has its own obscuring terrain as well, so these forests are obscuring. And the way we've worked most of these maps out is that one side will use dense cover as its obscuring terrain a lot, so it'll have obscuring terrain and dense cover. And that gives you a little bit of opportunity to play against indirect fire, sort of heavy indirect fire, because if you hide behind that, it's going to give you -1 to be hit.
It's a little optically deceiving. I mean, you see these giant ruins, and you're like, oh wow, they have way more cover. But honestly, this like thin forest of burnt down trees is almost identical to one of these ruins here.
Yep.
It's just a little smaller. But for all intents and purposes, the unit of havocs behind it cannot be shot currently. They are completely covered. So while there certainly is an advantage to one side, it's a much more symmetrical board than it might at first appear.
3, 4, 5, 6.
It also, I honestly, I like this, kind of like this concept of the intentionally asymmetrical board, because it really gives, like a TO or a table designer just a lot more design space for making interesting play areas.
Oh,
I think we've all gotten a little bit sick of just the L with
a couple of L's
the 2 ruins in the corners.
Yeah, and for people who watch the pre-stream video, obviously there's a showcase of all the maps in the map pool there, and there's some really interesting ones, I think.
Just remember they can summon that unit as well.
They look really good. I just want to say it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I just said, yeah, I just
Hardcore
agreed.
maps.
I just agreed with that. Yeah, you're right. They do look great. Whoever made them is a genius.
Look, I'm doing that like little eye where I point at myself, and then I say heart, and I do the little heart thing with my hands. But then I point at your maps, like not you specifically.
That's fair.
Also, heart Fabius Bile. I mean,
Fabulous.
this guy tries.
style, more like.
He tries so hard, and he has such a bad nose job on this model. He looks like he got hit by a car.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Beautiful.
This unit of Repentio. I'll do.
So it looks
3
like
into
we're
the screen.
mathing out the second possessed unit to fight, possessed unit number 1 on the left-hand side here, into these Repentia, and trying to split between the green unit and the uncolored unit. It's weird that I think Dineeth must have copy-pasted some of his models because his highlights are all the way broken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the highlights shatter once you have to, once the table starts getting messed up, or you have to do a restore state.
That's true. Yeah,
The scripting just blows up.
Broken after that table unlock. Yeah.
Oh, so which of these characters do you think Celestine is going to assassinate? I'm gonna say.
Well, we'll see.
I'm gonna say the Master of
We'll see
Possession
if
is
she
gonna be
doesn't
the
just
one.
get peeled off by a bunch of possessed.
Okay.
Well, then she just stands back up
1, 2,
and
3, 5, and 3.
Yeah.
like is out of the combat at that point because the only way they're killing her is in the assault phase.
No.
I
then
did
she just
play
can-
against Sisters of Battle player earlier this week, and his Celestine did not stand back up. It was heartbreaking.
Oh, you
'Cause that
can't
is an
re-roll that anymore.
unrerollable
Yeah.
2+ now.
It's so glorious. It goes from a 1 in instead of a 1 in 36, it's a 1 in 6.
Yeah.
Actually, they're not precedents. I will spend a CP for 4 rerolls to hit.
Okay.
That hits certain aspects of my Nurgle list pretty hard, but not
And
that
then the
hard.
squad,
That's
I'm
a
sending a
that's a
CP,
punch.
Yeah, it's even worse for Gilliman, right?
and
Because he's
each
a
time
4
you
up,
kill one,
so he's just
on
like
a mortal
total
one, you
gamble.
take one
More like gamble, man.
back. Each time you kill one on a 4 up, you take a mortal one back.
Is that
Okay, so we're gonna use the strat to for the Repentia to reflect mortal wounds
true.
back onto the unit that hits them,
The one with
which I
more
love.
effect going into
A little bit of spite. Yeah, and so
Sometimes it does a lot of damage back, and sometimes you put your weapon down.
yeah.
You just don't swing.
So 3s rerolling.
But I think
fun
this
fact,
time it's,
you actually I learned the other day you actually can't do that now in 9th edition.
I know, yeah. You no longer you have to use a weapon on your data sheet.
Yeah.
Look,
Sanguinarius,
like
I do not believe that you can use a miracle dice to stand her up. I think that miracle dice, like command reroll, have limited
Yeah,
uses and that are
they
listed
specify.
in the Acts of
Yeah.
Faith rule. It's basically, I think it's basically everything you can spend
Okay,
command
nice.
reroll on.
And it's a little. Some of their like other random effects within their codex do specify that they can be faith diced, but just not like generic game effects.
Wounds in just a moment. I'll just do the other unit.
Boom! Wow, this turned around pretty quickly.
3s rerolling again.
Interesting.
There's gonna be a lot left by turn 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be fair. Kian's defensive setup here is not bad,
No.
and the possessed will certainly at least want like another 2 turns to actually get into these exorcists. She has set up a sort of defensive perimeter, and there's not really guns that can take these models out realistically on Dineeth's side of the table. So I think
This 35-foot tall Magifier is just gonna like dive in there.
yeah, wade into combat like a giant.
Just hit somebody with his 25-ton. This like Celestine statue is bigger than Celestine.
Yeah. But that said, we do still have 3 exorcists on the table for Kian, so she has lost a lot of the forward momentum and sort of given it over to the creations of Bile. But that said, there are gonna be 3 blasty tanks sitting in this deployment zone, killing huge swaths of possessed for the rest of the game.
None got lasered.
Yeah, nobody got lasered. Yeah, they were all hiding.
15 at 14 at.
But they're not hiding anymore.
Battlefield orders.
Yep.
Or at least this one's not.
So it looks like we may. It looks like we're gonna use a swing twice
Rerolls, no +1.
on the Repentia.
I wouldn't be surprised if the possessed fought twice too.
+1 attack, sorry.
Sanguinarius, Champion, Venerable Dreadnoughts are in Battlescribe. Yeah,
explosions.
Battlescribe usually puts a lot of legend
There's
stuff in
basically
there.
No explosions. Like mini saves.
So just
I mean,
so
that-
you can have it for when you're building casual
But
lists.
that's- yeah,
They've not been
basically
officially legended yet, correct? Because they're not in a Legends book. Like, I just don't understand how that works.
Yeah, I don't think they're in the legend document yet, but I don't know.
Beautiful. So most of the units
It seemed to be-
they might run. So that one.
Like, the previous precedent was that anything that is not in the Legends book is just assumed to be safe, even if it does not exist in any other document going all the way back to the indexes. But I don't know how that works anymore, because none of those old documents have points values anymore, so you're just left with units that have, like, no current value, but are still legal. It's a kind of a conundrum.
With this unit. Did you want to see if Alex takes one?
No.
Do you want me to roll the or just take one?
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Canada's,
At Valdor, Battlescribe had all the legended units in 8th edition too. Like, it would mark them as legends
Let's move together.
most of the time.
Let's possess
I think it just has all content from all sources available.
10, 11, 12, 13, so I've got 7 in possess 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's 6 there. I will start rolling my morals. So for possess 2.
So it looks like a double fight off of those possessed with the Corn stratagem. Has wiped out all of the
Yikes.
Huh.
And that's, these possessed just got a free 6 inches of movement off this turn too.
Yeah. That charge. It looked a little scary for Dineeth, but I certainly wasn't expecting Kian to send all 3 Reventure units in there.
This is kind of the nightmare scenario that I was worried about. I saw that setup and I was just like I saw thirst, I saw blood in the eyes. You know, like a whole seeing
you
red
just put
and
your
charging
possessed
in.
in front of me. I'm going to charge him with all your things, but
Yeah.
you remember, counter assault still exists.
Yeah.
That could be problematic, for sure.
I failed that one. So that one's running. And I'll roll 13.
Battlescribe's a great gift to the community, far better than sadly anything Games Workshop has managed to claw together. But it is not like the perfectly authoritative document of all things that are or are not currently legal. I mean, there's a little bit of weirdness in there, especially as it comes to like legended items and like legended war gear options.
Yeah, and
or
as
strats.
obviously, looks like a bunch of lost a bunch of more of possessed the combat attrition there. Yikes! 4? Oh no!
Look, when I see a hulking 12-foot tall like possessed Chaos Space Marine filled with the Rage of Khorne, what I think is a coward.
Yeah, no. Of
And those guys just
Actually,
just getting out of there
I'll run.
the moment's opportunity.
So they auto fail, so one of them goes away. And then I roll an attrition test on. So
You don't auto fail. You always pass on a 1.
Oh yeah, so I'll roll that. Always passing on the 1.
What do you think this missionary is thinking right now?
So failing, and now I'll do the attrition test. For the
Oh,
last
he's
one.
ready to go. He's getting revved up, man.
He looks kind of like Jason Statham.
So still got 1 model there. So any secondary?
No, that's just because he's bald. He doesn't really look like him.
Oh, that also that leaves
All right.
Dineeth in
my
control of
primary,
all
I think
4
I get
objectives
15.
here
Yeah,
in the center. So he's gonna
Yeah, I
get
don't-
max 15 on primary. Ooh, gosh.
that repentant charge probably couldn't have gone much worse. I gotta say.
Yeah.
Let's see. 1 second.
Yeah, I can't. It doesn't feel like that charge needed to happen. I think you send 1 Repentia unit in, you blast a unit of possessed down, you lose it. But these 2 rhinos sitting in the back corner here, like there's nothing's gonna touch them.
Nah, you
Like, what, are you gonna
initiate.
charge possessed into those guys? Like, okay.
You
Go
just
for it.
initiated a trade all game long, and you rely on your superior backfield firepower to kind of like clearing out the opponent's models at a higher rate. But that's that bull in the china shop mentality. You just want to hit as hard as you can. Like when all you have is a hammer that's shaped like a chainsaw, the whole world looks like 60 nails
Are you gonna use
with 4 up
deception, by the way?
bin bones, and then you got to use it.
Just drop my CPU.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna plus 1 advance.
Yeah, that
and
also
advance and
blocks
trust
grind it
test.
down
So,
for
advance.
Kian that turn.
So 8.
His ability to sneak into the back and get assassinate has dropped through the floor. I mean, unless Unless Celestine pulls out some like real jujitsu over here, just like.
Well, fortunately, Kian doesn't have assassinate. Dineeth has assassinate.
Oh.
So it's all good.
He's about to score that up. Never mind.
Longship Loft, yeah, the Repentia,
Very well
or the possessed their Mark of Corn, so they used the Corn stratagem to fight twice and killed all of the Repentia. Everyone died.
Yeah, Sigonaris, the Chapel Dread, you just assume that things should get thrown into the sun. Oh, that's never seeing the table again. that curse upon the world has finally been dispelled.
So here they come. The remaining possessed. I mean, that still was a lot of possessed dead in the first turn there. We lost.
Let's go.
What do we lose? Like 25? What are we down to? 4, 8, 11, 15. There's only 20. So we lost 40 possessed.
Yeah.
that was what a slap of a turn.
Yeah,
two,
I mean
two armies punching each other in the face.
What's the return here? This possessed squad kills a Canonist, a Magifier, Missionary. This squad, I don't know, probably just has to hit the ketchup and mustard squads over here.
The Magifier? Kian's down to 1 CP, so she would have to spend all of her CP to Desperate Breakout this Magifier, and you could just burn the Canonist down and wrap. Because the big threat right now are the Exorcists, and forcing your opponent to drop 2 CP to actually leave combat with that lady, I think is probably worth it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, there's always the worry the Magifer just like Mary Poppins out of there with its umbrella wing statue, but
yeah.
Not easy to do when enough CP.
Pull Vaults right out of the unit, yeah. Yeah, I mean, she does have the CP to do it, but it's still going to be, it's still 2, right? That's all your CP that for basically the foreseeable future. That's a lot. And that's CP that you need to keep your characters alive. You need to use it to use the survivable strats.
Makes more sense.
You do want to make sure you're tagging these characters before they can just evacuate back into the Rhino, and then the Rhino hurls itself.
Just leaves.
It's as far away as it can go. Yeah. But you're probably right. They can probably wait a turn on that. What do you think the play is with these 3 Chaos Marines with bolt guns just like hanging out here in a trip 3?
They're just getting behind. They're engaging all fronts there.
No, but I mean, do they want las cannons or do they want like crab claws? Because like every other Chaos Marine on this board has made a choice, and these guys still need to make their choice.
Yeah, they what are they going to mutate into? Is the question.
Yeah, do they mutate into somebody holding a gun, or do they mutate into somebody who's like oddly aerodynamic, has like really well done nails?
Here come the Havocs, about to wreak havoc.
What are they wreaking?
Havoc.
But what unit is doing that?
The Havocs.
I don't understand.
You didn't get it?
Can you explain this joke to me? So you're saying they're wreaking chaos?
It does look like, looking back on it, one of these Exorcists is wounded, so I wonder if that unit did get to shoot last turn. This unit up on the left-hand side. And we just missed it.
Have 1 CP. That's correct.
Maybe it just didn't shoot twice, or it was just real bad rolls?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like I think we burned everything in the assault phase there. Dineeth just spent 5 CP in that assault phase, so I can't imagine that he's looking to shoot twice right now.
That's that. Fabius is just going to.
We have confirmation. He calls Fabius Fabius.
It's also new that I'll take my time.
And that is incorrect. His name is Fabulous Bill.
Yeah. Fabulous Bill, making a big mistake. There are no progenoid glands here to get.
Strength.
Yeah, it's kind of wasting. Honestly, a lot of possessed on a burnt-out husk of a city. Not 100% sure what he's doing here, but I mean, he's kind of it's like the Starscream of the Chaos faction, so you know, I like to applaud for him no matter what.
So it looks like we're +1 toughness on the center possessed unit there.
That will definitely help them against those Repentia chainsaws.
Yep.
I will Parisians, the spot in the middle.
And here we go with our psychic phase.
7, no, failing it, and warp time on a 6. Yay!
I mean, you were
Dineeth is
minus
on the red
1
side
for
chat,
all of
playing Creations of Bile.
From
Full
that
chaos
one?
space marines.
Okay. That's fine. All right, shooting. I guess these Havocs will shoot this Exorcist again.
At Valdar, I would be for that, but that would include releasing another line of Space Marine models. And you know what?
3s.
We can get maybe some Lady Guardsmen first, or I don't get any other line other than more Space Marine models. Literally any other army.
That was a really sad turn of shooting from this unit of Havocs. Another 2 damage on the Exorcist. Slowly but surely, we're getting there.
We got at 2 wounds a turn, they'll get it by the end of turn 6. Uh-oh.
We got an endless cacophony, that stuff. Get that double shoot going.
Oh, that was this one. Sorry.
What do you think of Havocs versus
Oh, this one.
Obliterators?
Yeah, these Havocs.
Well, I think they're a lot cheaper, so that's probably why they're in this list.
All those Havocs.
Are they? I mean, they're like 34 points per body there, so you're getting about 3 las cannons for the cost of 1 Obliterator.
Yeah.
So,
This
much worse
Havoc here,
defensively, slightly more damage output.
This piece of terrain.
3 shots for 6, but it's, guaranteed strike 9, d6, minus 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a 7-inch move, so do you mind if I just do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thanks. Alright,
More in
unit's just
the
gonna go
Obliterator
on.
camp myself.
Looks like a bit of a confusion from the players there, but they worked it out.
3s and 3s.
More questions about the map. That is, Max Wellenberg, that is because there is a defender's advantage built into the map to overcome the attacker's advantage of going first.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a callback to ITC 2020 and how they're running it. The brain is a very, very, just given the dynamic of the game right now, going first has an incredible advantage. I mean, you attack first, you're the first to get onto all the objectives.
More so than ITC, I think, by light years.
Yeah, definitely more so.
If you want to check out our the rules for the tournament, tts40k.com/invitational has all of the rules and regulations for it. If you want to just read the specifics.
Defender's advantage is actually one of the more interesting things in RTS game design, because typically how that comes along is while you're losing the initiative of being attacked in an area that you're uncertain of, usually you're closer to your own reinforcement points. You're better able to use your in-game resources to reinforce your standing fighting force much more quickly. But in a game like this, which honestly operates on many of the same principles, like the attacker
there are two these 2 pieces here are line of sight blocking on the attacker side of the table, chat. So the attacker has significantly less line of sight blocking, probably
it was an
probably
ITC rule,
60% of the.
Sorry, not an 8th rule.
Oh, what are we talking about?
So, does the unit...
There's a little bit of confusion about
Yeah, it's model by model.
why the map knows
so I
the sides that the player's on.
this one model that's
Professor Weblet, correct. Defender and attacker is chosen separately from the map in 9th.
It's not... You have to gain the benefit.
But also,
so
there's
the
almost no
model is
mitigation for the first turn advantage currently in 9th.
needs to be on
So
the terrain.
there's just pretty significant,
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's
You
fine.
kind of build it into the map a little bit to
Um,
mitigate that. I mean, in a lot of ways, map design is sort of the balancing factor in 40k. It always has been. There's always that nice comparison to playing on a giant bowling ball versus playing in a forest. Or a giant forest is you're innately favoring one thing over the other. So designing a map that's taking all things into account is one of the best ways to ensure a fun game for everybody. And an interesting game to watch.
It's probably not going to do much. I'll save him a second. So, I'm going to declare a charge with this possessed unit onto the missionary, the Magifier, and the...
So it looks like the other Havoc unit knocked this the second Exorcist down to 6. So it is bracketed. That's nice. At least one of them knows how to shoot.
That's what I need.
Well, until CP gets spent, and then it's then it's back.
Do they operate at top profile with the stratagem?
I believe there's a stratagem that's just +1 to hit, right?
I think they have one that ignores penalties to hit. I'm not sure. If
Okay, so not the same. George Govieski, that can be the case in a lot of matchups, but it does seem anecdotally just from tournament results that going first just seems to have a substantial advantage. Being on the getting to move first, I mean, you score, let's say, domination instantly and all game. Just as one example, there's just a lot of
that we're also playing with the 8th edition deployment rules, so the attacker will deploy their whole army first, and the defender will deploy.
Yeah. So
there's no. It's not as much of a risk reward kind of thing. It's not a question of whether you're deploying on the line and choosing first or second. It's a and gambling for it, you know whether or not you're going first or second when you deploy.
Yeah, it's a slightly more tactical way to do it. I mean, you end up with a decision matrix. Like, if you're choosing to go first or second, you're choosing whether or not you want the slightly better terrain piece, but the loss of initiative on getting on top of objectives. If you're choosing to go second, I mean, there's serious calculations into that. There's a lot going into it. Especially with how reserves now work. I mean, going first means you can place your reserves quite readily. Going second means it's almost impossible to place a reserve anywhere but your own deployment zone. It's pretty rough.
And we get it. My intent is to be outside of 3 inches of Celestine.
Sanguinary, so the woods are -1 to hit and line of sight blocking. So if you're inside the woods, shots coming into you will be -1 to hit you. And if you're behind them, they'll be -1 to hit for both of you.
Woods don't have a inherent set of statistics attached to them. It's just a series of keywords.
Yeah, we've keyworded all of the terrain on the map is keyworded, so you can see the area terrain here is obscuring and dense cover and defensible.
Yeah, if the players took the time to hover over them, you would be able to see. The players can easily see what each terrain piece is, though it's a little bit harder for us to show.
I don't really
well, I can hover over them, which I'm doing now for this.
Right. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I can't.
That's the easiest and simplest.
Womp womp.
I am the game master. I am the master of this game.
This is why I was 5 points out of getting into the top 16 right here. Just lack of mouse power.
That was why.
Yeah,
the keywords in the core book are suggestions on what terrain should have, but we've played with them a little bit for the sake of balance.
And aesthetics. I mean,
and aesthetics.
Like, you want specific types of keyword combinations doing certain things, but you don't always want them necessarily represented by the same things every time.
Yeah.
It just gets kind of boring that way.
Yeah, and especially since we wanted dense cover to be heavy on one side of the table, but we also wanted the terrain to be obscuring. So it being dense cover means it needs to have a different effect than the obstacles.
So we should probably clarify for anyone newly coming in. This giant castle on the sisters' side of the table, that's a battle sanctum. The sisters brought that with them.
Yeah, that's
not a part of the table.
The actual line of sight blocker is this little tiny thing in the corner.
Yeah, they somehow just kitty cornered a church in the middle of this city block.
Just airdrop. That's actually why this map looks like this, is because they dropped a church from space.
Yeah, they dropped the church a little too hard though, and most of it broke.
Yeah. So 3s.
Set all the foliage on fire. Here we go with the possessed.
It destroyed the city.
Yeah. We're here to save your souls, everyone.
These are at -2 on the missionary.
I mean, if we just assume that this giant Imagifer that comes with the Battle Sanctum could probably just pick it up herself and fly around with it.
At Voldor, it's like Baba Yaga's house. It walks around. I need that modeled, everyone. Send me a picture.
Tax wants to be...
So, are we going to go into this?
Now.
We are going to go into the Imagifier. Doesn't look like we're going to kill her, though. We've already killed the missionary on that side, which is good.
Maybe we will, actually.
Well, there you go. What do we save?
Not a lot of combat steroids in this possessed list, though. They're kind of just fighting raw with some strength buffs. 1 wound left.
All right. Well, she survives on 1. Perfect. It's perfect.
Without the network of buffs, the actual damage output on possessed is much smaller than the like the Mount Everest peak of damage output they had
Right.
in 8th edition.
Yeah, they
lists.
also they don't need to spend all of their resources buffing up these
Yeah.
these possessed when they're fighting sisters like random sister squads.
Well, I mean, didn't kill it a match for, so getting pulsar damage might have been nice,
yeah.
but
I do feel like that was maybe on purpose, but I do. I think Dineeth would like to have done more damage to this Canoness, but he only did 2 wounds.
So what I'll
For
do
sure.
is intent is to wrap.
Yeah, so here goes to the tri-point on the Imagifer.
Well, until they get attacked back anyway.
Yeah.
Although this, I do not think this is in fact the Canoness with the super sword. So
That's okay.
No, she's got the -2 to
And
cast
this one has
stick.
to go towards-
Yeah. which she could apparently hit somebody with.
That's fine. I'll make it happen.
the-
That's
this
good
one
to
has
know.
towards
It's
us.
a 2 damage stick.
Ooh.
They should make more of that.
I'm a little worried about some of these characters, though.
Actually, I may as well stay on the objective.
I think they're gonna. I think they're in prime position to be shot.
And this one will just
Fabius looks like he's hiding behind these 3 Chaos Space Marines in this corner, but the other guys, just
you
chilling.
can
Just chilling.
Just fight over here.
You can only hide behind things that, you know, the opponent can see.
There's 3.
So these extras could just pop out, not see these Chaos Marines, and shoot this man.
No,
Right, yeah.
if you're within through the 3 inches of the character of the unit, then it basically makes everything block for you. Doesn't matter if you can see
I thought it was within 3, and also the obscure unit also had to be within line of sight.
No.
It was only no line of sight required if it was a out of line of sight shooting weapon.
Yeah, if you're
do you have Magify in
within
here?
3 of a unit that blocked that turns on Lookout Sir, then you can't be targeted by things that shoot out of line of sight.
Average, 30
What about
damage.
things that do shoot in line of sight if you cannot see the things that are obscuring?
That doesn't matter.
Huh.
Yeah, it gives you basically Lookout Sir just gives you almost 8th edition character protection as long as
Okay.
you're within 3 inches of something.
Also, if they kill one more of these Chaos Marines,
Yeah, it's
they
just like
respawn as
one
well.
battle sister like runs around and shoots one with a bolt gun. Fabius Bile is going to die. But I'm more worried about this. I guess the sorcerer is not so important, but the master of possession going down would suck.
With that,
Guy is
Also,
important.
to go back to my previous question, who is Celestine just gonna kill?
It's true. Celestine might go in and kill multiple of these characters now. That was surprising that she survived that turn on
Like,
stage.
she can pop over and she could just shoot this sorcerer to death.
Okay, so
Yeah, I mean her gun's not that good, but it is potentially possible for sure.
Also, the sorcerer can just be shot
That
by
Valdor.
anything
I'm
right
in
now.
danger.
so these are still toughness.
Yeah, all of these characters can be shot if line of sight can be drawn to them. None of them
Yeah,
block
dude.
for anything.
Yep, they're just probably going to die. It takes an entire exorcist shot to do that, though, so at least that's something.
Hey man, Rhinos have storm bolters.
Oops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, go.
All you really need is Celestine and a Rhino. Knock out a sorcerer. Celestine,
Ooh.
backflips, the master position.
These cannons just killed 4.
I was telling you, like, that ramp was going to be hard to maintain.
She's killed 4 possessed. You
This
know,
Magic is probably going to do some too.
NBD. I don't think the Magic Fairy has a sword, right? She's just punching.
No, she hits you with the statue.
The big stick.
Nice. Yeah, takes 1 wound. That's fine.
If this wasn't like a $45 model, this would be a great statue to give like an orc with the Wa banner.
I'm not sure if the intention is that the characters are touching the wall. It looks like the Master of Possession might be, but that doesn't matter, really. The Sorcerer definitely is, I guess. But he's already out in the open. I think the two in the front are the easiest, are going to be in line of sight regardless. Chat. It's the Aspiring Champion in the back.
There was a
but
way
it's
for
not
them to
touching
be
the wall.
half of half.
The rubble terrain here just provides light
that's
cover.
fine,
It's not
that's
actually
fine.
part of the obstacle. The
I mean,
obstacle
it's only
itself
extra attack.
is different.
7 attacks.
All right, let's see if we hit the giganticest brain casualty pulls on these Valor's Heart Sisters to where they can just lose the Rapt Sister in
Well, why did these guys-
combat or not combat attrition in coherency. So all you got to do is pull this.
That is a really good point.
Actually,
Okay.
actually,
They
fun
already
fact:
took- they
the
already
sister's
took damage.
already out of
Here was
coherency.
4.
Are they?
Did they start at 5 or 10?
That's really it.
They started at
and I killed 1 character.
Yeah, this sister's just out of coherency now.
So I killed 2.
It's like way out. Oh wait, no, starting at 5. They have to go up to 6,
so
right?
so
To need
Yeah,
the
yeah,
10.
6. Yeah, 6.
Yeah,
It's
never
above
mind.
5 is when you get to the new coherency rules. Yeah.
And they need to somehow add They did an anti-kill one. It just suddenly brings another.
Right.
CP.
Yeah, no, I think those guys are safe.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got both possessed units wrapping this turn.
Yep.
That's a big deal. Do you think we desperate breakout? Do we see a desperate breakout here?
We probably do over here, so that I guess it's over here by the 2 exorcists, so the exorcists can just like pivot over, fire everything into the squad. I feel like the canoness will probably do okay.
Yeah, she'll fight. She gets to fight, or she gets to fight last, unfortunately. So
A rhino can engage these possessed for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
too.
that's true. That's true.
They're not killing that thing. I mean, they will eventually, but
Yeah,
like
someday.
But they'll turn around and they'll have nobody behind them, and Celestine will just be like, just a Celestine just covered in blood.
Just
will
waiting
just
through
be like
the chaos
standing
army.
next. Yeah.
I think that point that we brought up earlier, which is that the Sororitas do need to turn around and shoot these havocs at some point, is sort of coming up now, right? I think the impetus would be to desperate breakout and try to gun this possessed unit down before it touches the exorcists. But at that point, you're not shooting the havocs, and the havocs pick up probably 2 of them.
I suppose this rhino could actually just tap this possessed squad, keep him there for the following turn, and then you can shoot almost anything. I gotta wonder.
Oh, you got 2 banners.
Is this havoc squad just gonna shoot Celestine?
Yeah. No, just one bit.
Well, I guess she'll
Oh, just 1 banner. Okay.
like 84% chance of standing back up afterwards anyway.
Yeah, and she's got an invulnerable save.
Yeah.
She is
Every
a tough
time-
model to deal with once you get down to it.
Every time I've ever killed Celestine, it's because I shot her 50 times, she made 49 invulnerable saves, and then the 50th shot was just a 6 on my damage roll, and she falls over. And then she stands back up, and I just charge her like 1,000 points of stuff. But like, really, you gotta kill her in shooting, not
Yeah.
in your resolve phase.
So thinking about the way this game is going, the possessed, I think, have bled a lot to get to the position where they are right now. You know, losing like whatever it is, 45 possessed in the way.
I got bad news for this kit, the dude screening Fabius Bile.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Also, this exorcist, if it moved there, could actually see Fabius Bile's unit too.
Yeah.
Stay there, so
I'm like, I probably can't move there though.
But it seems to me like I don't think the sisters will have the firepower to shoot. I mean, they might be able to grab objective 4, but taking objective 3 seems unlikely.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm kind of getting the feeling these rhinos that we were just really down on before might accidentally win the game. Just by being these like choo-choo trains
This
that
unit, do they advance?
saying I think I can over and over again, and then just bumping into stuff and standing on objectives when everything else is dead.
So it looks like we did Desert Breakout, and
Alright.
one of these ladies died.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was too desperate.
Canonist ran away.
And the
Quite
captain's
frightened.
Gonna pop in.
I haven't spent those CP yet, though.
How far away? 5 inches.
Nice.
I figure out where to put her.
What do we have over here? 4 faith dice. So are these the faith dice?
Was that
in-
a Desperate Breakout on the Red Sisters unit?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you spend the CP for that? Cool. Thanks.
So I was moving them first.
All right, I'm just making sure we didn't lose it.
Yeah.
I'll get.
Are these the blue dice or the red dice down here by the secondaries, the faith dice?
It's the red dice or the face dice. Yeah, by
Okay.
the secondaries on Kian's side. Yeah, she's got the blue dice are just a show, and then the red dice are the actual ones that she has. The blue dice are just to organize it, I guess. Or the miracle dice. We are below 10 on these possessed now, though, so these blast weapons aren't going to do quite as much damage,
Alright.
which is a small mercy
Yeah.
for them, I guess.
Depends on your interpretation of the blast rule.
So
I would say.
It does not.
Gonna shoot that one, I guess.
You need to calm down.
I'm gonna ride that train until they epic you.
Get out of here.
What? I'm very confused. I picked up 3.
Did we see that assassin come down earlier? Was that what we were doing earlier?
I imagine it would.
Celestine is going to burn
They're hard
it.
to find, but I imagine we would be able to find it if it was on the table somewhere.
Oh,
This is only turn 2,
Yeah,
so they have...
could come out and
Shot.
Oh wait, never mind. I found it. Here it is. It's in front of Celestine.
Red 1, so 3 ups in cover. Good.
Oh yeah, on the corner of the building. Yeah.
I feel like this model may be substantially smaller than it's supposed to be. It's like comically tiny.
Both these this exhaust is gonna shoot.
Look at her next to
for
these like
the-
Havocs
This is the
over
T5,
here.
isn't it? So,
Yep.
She could like fit inside of one of their shoes. She like came over here in a Venom.
Both those, and I forgot my miracle dice again.
War Machine TV talking about the deployment zones. They felt that the old style deployment also just takes significantly less time to do on stream.
I feel like
And I think, if for a event that we're going to be streaming the entire thing of, I think the benefits outweighed the
You have one on.
the drawbacks of having to switch up the deployments.
Yeah.
So
I
that
would-
was kind of the tiebreaker rationale.
certainly we don't have a lot of events to draw from, but I wouldn't say that that's also without a lot of data points. Like that's just how it worked in all of 8th. The 8th book missions were I go, you go, deployment per unit, and then you just rolled to see who went first. Like it was, and to defend or the advantage of going first was enormous, like colossal, to the point where Games Workshop with their own tournaments didn't even use it. Like, it is strange that they built it back into the game, and there are conceptually some mitigating factors, but it doesn't feel like any of them are real.
Yeah, and Valdor, Calidus can be whatever size they want. They shapeshift.
It's true. There's a story where one of them shapeshifted as a baby at one point to get into the planetary governor's house and then assassinated him.
Gross.
And then I guess
You got murdered by a baby?
like the deceiver was there. It was a weird book.
And do you send yourselves first?
Yeah.
Cool. 3 go through.
Kills one. Second. Kill the
So first
third.
Exorcist, it looks like is going to kill 3 possessed,
So 3 and 1's on 1.
and then
Nice.
deal a wound with a heavy bolter.
So they've lost 5 total.
There's definitely a point where they just become rendered combat ineffective,
Yeah,
and
I
this
think,
Canonist
this-
just mops them up.
This possessed unit, yeah, over here is about to
Okay.
die. This
No
Canonist
wounds.
doesn't have a special melee weapon, so she's actually has a tough time biting through that.
Well, does she have the
Gonna shoot your Havocs.
mortal wound sprayer?
The Brazier, I don't.
Yeah, it does extra mortal wounds to demons.
Nice.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Oh, strange. I would have thought that just been.
Guns.
I would have thought that just be an auto pick.
Oh, whoops, sorry, no rerolls on that.
That's okay.
That cost, that is a very good ability.
Hitting on 4s. Hitting on 4s. So
God damn it.
just reroll. Take 2 of those out and just reroll it because it's just 2 against. Yeah. Good. So one
That's a
heavy
method, right?
bolter.
They're all on wounds. Common models.
Yes, you're right, and everything's.
Oh yeah, so we are going into the Havocs here with the wounded Exorcist.
So there's 1 last cannon. So that 4 of them are dead, right?
Yep.
Cool. And then just 4 up. No, that's a unit. Beautiful.
Oof. Rockets down 1 Havoc unit.
Okay.
Ooh.
This
I
can.
think even without these Repentia, we might be running out of steam for these possessed here.
Yeah.
Too much damage from these Exorcists, probably.
Yeah, that first turn was wildly bloody.
-1.
Yeah.
Yep, 4 up.
Yeah, that was insane. Yeah, between the first 3 turns of the game, we lost basically
squad.
every
These
combat
two
model on the
squads,
table.
I just
Yeah.
want to shoot your possess.
Yeah, go for it.
1,000 models just picked
Plus
itself
four
right up
plus-
enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
1,000 points.
Yeah, plus-
Not 1,000
plus-
models. Almost.
Yeah, just mutually annihilated right in the middle.
8 of them in rapid, 4 of them in rapid fire range. Shots plus 1.
That said, you do have to, in order to score primaries in 2020, you do have to actually get onto the
Fives.
objectives, and then clear them. So I don't
And
think
then you have a squad.
Kian is in a position to score, like we were talking about before, much of the center at this point.
Save.
And Dineeth may get another turn of big scoring. We'll see if he's able to hold on to objective 4. That's going to be the real fight for this round.
Well, I mean, 3 Chaos Space Marines will maybe not lose to 5 sisters, like Valor's Heart sisters in combat, but like won't kill them.
Yeah, they'll just fight
And-
for a while and bounce
yeah.
off 3 plus armor saves. Yeah.
5 is more than 3, and they both have
Canada's
OBSEC.
is going to charge
Yeah.
you possessed.
Yep.
5 inch
That's
charge.
good. Yes.
Hey,
Just gotta imagine
here
at
comes
some
the
point.
Canada.
Oof,
Policy's charging you possessed.
we're all hitting the possess then. Yeah, this entire squad is probably about to go away.
Wow.
Fun fact about the
Very
phase
nice
sword,
charging
I do believe it still ignores invulns, vulnerable saves, does it not?
It's a great question. As someone who has great experience with Kala's assassins, I have no idea.
Kala's
And then these battle
assassin?
sisters are charging your marines.
See,
It does. It does ignore.
I knew it.
And it's 2 damage.
Ah.
It's like the perfect weapon
Yeah.
to kill specifically possessed.
Yep, only strength 4,
Also
but
previous
you know what?
advantage.
It's all right.
All right. Oh, here come the battle sisters onto 3. So if they did make their charge, and if they don't lose enough, if they lose 3 models, then they won't get an objective. But I don't believe there's any special weapons here for these ladies. I think it's just a chainsword on the sister superior.
But
I have to
I
imagine
have to
this
do this
this
right
combat
now.
will last quite a while. These
Oh, you can charge.
like
Yeah.
10,000-year-old
No, I wasn't gonna try to
seasoned
fight you guys.
veterans of 1,000 battles.
No, just do it, man.
we'll eventually lose.
Just I don't care. Just go for it.
alright,
To some sisters, but it'll take a while.
nothing. Expected, but
They should have made their choice. They should have picked up the crab claw or the last
Yeah,
cannon.
good
You know,
job.
they couldn't pick, and this is what happens.
Yeah, they get stuck with a boulder.
Yep.
Yeah, they were the last one to the weapons pile.
okay. So
They lost that game of
uh,
musical chairs.
Kaladas.
Mm-hmm.
5 attacks.
But I'm just gonna check. No, I don't want to use any strats. Go for it.
Okay, so poison blade first, which is the red one.
I feel like you didn't need to throw the rhino in over here as well. That feels a little
So
little
Poison
insult to
blade
injury
always
there.
wins,
You know,
Poison blade first, always wins
Yep.
-1.
-1, so 4 up.
all that guy's power could have been sent.
So it kills
So it's
one.
1
I don't
up.
know.
And then
Yep.
2,
Match
-3,
possession
ignoring
phase.
inbounds.
6 up. So it's 3
Yeah,
Picks
straight.
up 3. Oh.
So it was
no.
one, miss this one, and 2 total. So your canoness. That's an inch. This has to be there. That's fine. Kill. And kill. And I will be interrupting in a moment.
Okay.
And it looks like Dineeth's going to counterattack here.
So take my 2 CP down. Do I get 1 back?
Interesting. You could potentially pick up the Canoness and the Imagifier with some good dice. That would be real
How
nice.
many attacks does this unit get? They get
The Calidus
3,
itself is also not the most
so it's going to be 1 into the
defensive model in the world.
Well, it's already
And-
swung, so he's like,
Rest into
I assume he's just trying to pick up his assassination points before.
yeah.
Well, oh wait,
3 here and 1 into the Imagifier.
can he do that?
Into the Imagifier, shock assaults as well. 2s.
You also want the Calidus to not go barreling into your Havocs in the following turn.
Yeah, that's fair. All right,
Although-
Magifier down.
I'll see my Dineeth too.
Canoness.
Should have attacked the Rhino.
2 Death and False Emperors.
It's always an interesting pick against Sororitas because I feel drawn to both bring it down and assassinate for the secondaries.
Yeah.
Oh man, that cannon just ate 5 and died. Whoa!
Yikes.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, that's not gonna save them from Celestine. She's about to cut. She's about
Yeah.
to cut them in half. But
Also, these possessed are wrapping a character that will just do some sort of
You wanna
sick ass.
just
It's
kill
like
them.
sick whirlwind attack. Just kill all 4 of them at once.
yeah,
I'm
for
just
sure.
going to make you move this way.
Yeah, he just wants to make it so Celestine has to move out of the character protection of that Rhino.
Alrighty.
And,
Now, because the Rhino's going too.
It's gonna get you.
You don't even need Celestine. This Rhino has D3 attacks.
These Bloody Rose Rhinos are so dangerous too because their 6/6 explode and they're AP1.
2 hits,
Yeah.
2 explosions.
No, they also get like +1 to hit.
Yeah, 4 hits. They don't know. They just roll 6s all the time.
Aw.
And somehow they constantly roll 6s. As we saw there, killed a possessed. Just ran them over. The most dangerous rhinos in the universe, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, it's the spiked brow. Okay?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they get the little cow catcher on there.
Can you imagine if that caught a cow? That would. That poor cow.
Giant
It's getting ready for this foot
yeah.
roast.
The cow would just stick to that thing for quite some time.
Let's see.
Yeah, could you imagine getting the cow off of that? That would be the question. All right, Celestine, do your thing.
It's got a pigeon for
Would
it.
the heads-up play have been to interrupt with the Chaos Space Marines on Objective 3? Just try to kill like 2 of those Battle Sisters, so they don't punch you.
I mean, what's the... Well, you're
Probably-
looking like a 50-50 to kill one, right?
Yeah, you're so low chances to kill one.
I guess, no, they have shock assaults, 2 attacks each, 4 hits.
Kills three.
Like,
Nice, that's a unit.
what,
Oh,
3 and a
yeah.
third wounds. They fail... You kill like 1.2 on the 50-50 average dice. So, I guess if he wants to burn a CP... I mean, well, you kill 1, you're still outnumbered on the objective anyway. It doesn't really matter. You'd have to kill at least 2 to even match.
You can fight here.
All right, the epic battle of our time over here. Yeah, 5 Sisters battle versus 3 Chaos Space Marines.
Explosion, so 6 hits. 2 saves, no AP.
Oh, they kill one. Uh-oh. That's not good.
Is the Callous Assassin about to take 4 lives cannons?
2 attack space. Champion has
Non-zero
3+.
chance. She'll be okay though. She's got an
Engage
ability.
sword, yeah. So, 2.
She does have the stat line of a Gene Stealer. That is a thing she does have.
Yeah.
3 explodes.
A couple more wounds though.
Just a few.
And the assassins are a 4+ invulnerable if I remember correctly. Oof, look at those explosions off of Death
Is
of
it a
False Emperor.
4?
Whoa.
Just
Lightning
3
reflexes,
yeah.
let's see.
Oh, kills 2. Oh, they just took an
Uh-oh.
obsec that objective away. Sad. Because they killed their one, yeah. So that will give Dineeth 10 points for round 2, because he will control 3.
Yeah.
But
well done. So I think I'm still
they'll
getting
both
a
be-
15 because I hold this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are right, it is a 4-up invulnerable
Yeah,
lightning reflexes. What do they
and
call it
having a
when it's
second-
when a Gene Stealer has it?
See, what did you kill? You
Is that
killed
not the
more
same
than me.
ability?
I killed 5 total now. Yeah.
Just want to make sure the players
So,
accurately
no
calculate the
down.
points this turn, because I think Dineeth will only be getting 10.
Mess around them. Oh,
Ah, get wrecked. Both the Gene Stealer and
oh,
the Assassin have lightning reflexes, but the Assassin's is 4-up.
Yeah.
oh these are losing
That-
5 on
that-
the morale.
Buff to Imperial models.
So, losing 5. They could... Right, I got,
Maybe if you just cut off 2 of your
there,
arms, you could
so-
dodge a little faster. Alright.
You're both on 3 objectives right now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Trevi.
These players, man,
Yep,
you got to keep
how
a
many
close eye on
characters
them.
are filled now?
Were they missing that the possessed?
You
OPSEC
killed,
possessed was on the...
Uh,
this one?
no, Dineeth, I think, thought that he was contesting objective 3,
Ah.
3. 4 left.
but we got it.
So I'm gonna
We
fall
figured
back
it out.
here. Go back here. Staying off the ruins, so I'm still obscured if I can. Daddy's going in.
At Valdor, I know that when I wear tight leather pants, I am way more agile. I can move my legs into so many positions beyond just...
Was this
Standing.
consolidate or
Pretty
fall
tall.
back on the Chaos Space Marines over here on 3?
Oh, just a fallback, sorry.
Because they have to end outside of an inch of enemy models.
Oh, thanks. Sorry. I'll just change that a little bit. I'll just fall them straight back. Thanks,
That's
guys.
fine.
Just confirming, still obscured from the Exorcist on this
Yep.
side. Cool, thank you.
You are not. Wait, yes, you are.
Yeah, cool.
An obstacle, not you were 3.
This possessed is going to jump back.
So we're in a knife fight now. These exorcists are probably going to kill all of the Chaos Space Marines over the course of the next couple of rounds, but Dineeth, obviously with a little bit of a lead
Yeah, I just
on
haven't
primary
known.
objectives from that first turn
Yeah,
aggression.
6 up.
Although I think he just lost too much to the exorcists.
Everything has a 6-up inbound at minimum.
No special weapons on this
Oh.
canvas, just a chainsaw.
No.
At some point when I was not watching, the Havoc squad got shot to death.
Yeah, the Exorcist picked it up
Yep.
in return fire.
Womp womp.
Same thing on the short side of inch. 1.9.
Same knife fights, but I think one of their knives might be a little knifier.
Yeah. One of the knives is a missile launcher, so that's kind of skews things a little bit.
Well, it's like a pipe organ, right?
Yeah. It feels to me like the not getting the double move on turn 1 was really brutal for the possessed, and I think they just match up so poorly into these exorcists that they're going to lose too much going in.
Honestly, their stat line just feels bad into almost every threat coming out of the Sisters Force. Like, Celestine, 2 damage. The Calidus, 2 damage.
Right,
that one Canoness, 2 damage. The Repentia, 2 damage. The Tags, 2 damage. It's just...
Right.
Like,
yeah, it's all 2 damage, a lot of it wounds on 2s.
In a world designed to kill intercessors, being an intercessor that just has an invuln sometimes
So if I move to here,
is kind of rough.
So that's the next movement.
Yeah, just keep in mind that terrain slows you down a little bit.
Oh, thanks, Trevi.
So 2 inches back if you want it to move.
So I think we're trying to finagle some shots into the characters to pick up those assassinate points.
You still happy with them being able to be shot?
There's a somewhat successful chain of bagel places near where I live called Finagle a Bagel. And I'm gonna tell you, these Havocs are not getting a bagel.
No bagels
right
for
here.
them.
No.
No, it wasn't Celestine, it'll be back for Calidus, yeah.
And same with this one. So you
So
can split them 2-2.
yeah, we're at 3 on assassinate right now for Dineeth, and could be pushing to 4 kills for 12 points. I'm worried about that while we stand we fight pick now. Now that the possessed are gone, and all of the screening eligible units on Dineeth's side of the table are gone.
Celestine is just going to start picking them up.
Well, Celestine was going to do that anyway. I'm worried about Exorcists doing it by themselves, like Celestine not having to commit.
You can cast Psychopaths if you advance.
Well, she doesn't have to commit, but I mean, like, she wants to. She enjoys it. She's fine. You know?
Yeah.
Advance.
Not afraid of commitment over there. I've left her 2 college friends behind in the move to New Edition, and she's just ready to settle down with a nice, I don't know, Master of Possessed, Exalted Champion. Just shop around, see which one strikes her fancy, and she'll kill any of that, down. I wonder if the Exorcist, if it just like sounds like garbage. Like if it sounds like
has
a pipe
to be
organ.
a cacophonous dirge for sure.
Like, does it just sound like a pipe organ where the pipes are blocked?
All right.
Otherwise, it's just a bad. It's just a bad pipe organ.
Yeah. To psychic. I'm just going to give this one up.
I think this lady trained like be a classical, musician. Really want to just inspire people, and then they just saddle her with this like terrible, awful instrument that just sounds terrible. There's like a corpse attached to it for some reason.
Yeah, definitely not her dream job. I think. She wanted to be in an orchestra.
What do you think this guy, like the servitor that they have just reloading this thing? What do you think that guy did?
He used to reload Whirlwind. It's a big.
Oh.
It's a big.
Yeah, that's a step up.
Step up in his career for sure.
From
Those things sound even worse.
sorry.
The sisters.
Yeah, sorry. Got my miracle. Start a battle round. In fight phase, I killed some shit.
Salvador, I think the what was it, the repressor, the Rhino did? It had like an upgrade for like a loud hailer that would lower leadership. I'm not sure if the Exorcists themselves did. Maybe they did. Maybe they just gave it to all Rhino chassis.
3 models.
Oof. A big 3 on a smite from the from this sorcerer over here.
Take one.
Nice. on, you know.
They make two
just
6 up
walk
in
time
North.
himself
Get
now.
out of here. Brutal.
Fails. Cool. Shooting. These havocs are going to go into the canvas.
So if this battle sanctum is like lifted slightly off
So
the ground
things
like it
and
currently
twos.
is, can you just see underneath it?
2 windows on the canvas.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Although I think I mean,
It's a.
it's probably not a great deal.
Fabius is just going to shoot the sisters. So
Oh, Fives finally gets to
pistol
use
wins on twos.
the Zyklos Needler.
It's 3 shots. Hitting on 2s.
Needler like the most anime weapon
Sorry, yeah.
in 40k.
Weapon skill.
No.
Mystic skill 3+.
It's supposed to like
2s to win.
what would be that? Like,
It's
I'll
everything
just check the profile.
that a Custodes has.
Yeah.
Like the swords with the guns built
Even
in.
it's 2 damage.
just
so
like a
it's
lot of like
3
vegetable oil
Oh, they have a 4 up right now.
and like a tan. Yeah, I could see that.
Doing
Actually, that's pretty.
1 dice.
Why?
All right, Fabius Bile takes control back of the
boost.
objective. Give me that. Give me that objective.
What's that?
Says-
Fabius is just going to charge into the
You
sisters.
could say that. It's like his famous saying, like in quotes in the codex. Give me that objective. End quote.
Can't jump over them.
Valor, that's the easy answer. That's not the.
Luke McCarthy,
Not the true
new map
answer to
concept:
that.
the underground basement of a previous map. All
And
right, well,
these possessed are going to
That's
charge
happening with the,
and the Magifier.
with one of the AdMech board or the Astro Militarum board.
Like, you got like what, Exo Squad in the United States. You got like Mech Warrior. There's all kinds. There's precedent over here.
I'll just measure it up if I can.
You know,
2.5.
looking for the real weeb stuff.
It's the stupid Sentinel blade, dude. I'm telling you,
I think it's Space Wolves.
it's literally a gun blade.
So I'll actually use that to go further.
I'm worried about Dineeth's control over his back
This one,
objectives.
is that one
Objective
okay?
5, I think, is about to be blasted
dead.
clean of heretics.
She got smoked.
I mean, how many possessed are even still over here? 4?
I know the other.
Okay,
there
get in
are
its.
3?
Steal this and then wrap this stuff. You know.
I count 4 by these.
Oh, there's 4. You're right. Yeah, one was hidden by the banner.
There's candidates here that just can pop out, hold them off for
Grendolf, it
God
was
knows how
Shuma.
long.
Send any hate mail to Shuma.
Yeah, that was me.
Attacks.
Shuma thinks Space Wolves are anime.
It was like Kawaii, Sugoi, very Sunder. I mean, Space Wolves are like probably the most Sunder of the legions.
I mean, they do sunder a lot of stuff. In 20.
They do. That's true. They Sunder things, and also they're very Sunder about it the whole time.
Ooh, well,
Nick
good
two.
thing those guys went on 2s, because that was a terrible roll.
She survived.
Oh, does she have a 4-up in bird base?
No.
Oh,
He has,
no!
he knows if
He
he
puts an
could.
Magifier down to 1 wound.
Oh, okay, so that's the...
He's experienced doing that.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll just wrap her. Doesn't make a difference.
This one has to.
Yeah, I'm not
I wasn't-
sure we can.
Like,
No, it's Sunder with a
We
T
really
at
wanted that.
Valdor. There's a T at the beginning of that.
No, I mean, like, the thing was that you have to stay
sorry,
outside.
sorry. Sorry, I thought that was your Magifier. That's totally my mistake. Yep, that's all good. In that case, I probably.
Valerie, you're supposed to say Sugoi in that scenario.
I'll see what I can do. So he's going to go to here.
Trying so
He's
hard to
gonna
tap
get
one of these exorcists right now.
He's going to go this way to here.
If push comes to shove, this 8-wound exorcist can just round the corner, assault the possessed, and like,
Just charge him.
yeah, just hold
Yeah.
them forever. Or this other like 5 sister squad could just pop off of this. I mean, if the game at this point is just to hold on to these things, there's
ourselves in them. Because I've been trying
enough
to avoid
enough
that.
meat here to hold it for
Oh,
probably the rest
well,
of the
in that
game, I would
case, I
assume.
can just do it that way. Because this one has to go towards that one.
Sure.
Yeah. And I'm just engaging this exorcist.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. But yeah, they could all swing back. I'll probably lose them in combat anyway. But
I'll finish this.
yeah, I'll just do Fabius.
Sanguinarius, I don't think it got FAQ'd yet. I think they just... I don't even know if the Warhammer community even said they were going to. I think it just was everyone's assumption that it was going to be. It probably will, but I don't they haven't even fixed the Mechboy Workshop FAQ yet, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they say they're gonna fix.
Strength 6.
Yeah, it took them 4 months to fix Engine War or Saga of the Beast. So and they messed up half of it. So who knows how long it takes for the next one. They got
Fabius.
They got Space Marine walls to come out with.
Fabius wiped those sisters out in the center?
D3.
I got to assume. I mean, his assault profile is pretty good when he's fighting.
He just put 2 wounds through their armor for 3 damage and 2 damage. Yeah. Oh, that one tried. Oh man, she wanted to stick around.
And I'll just insult him to hit.
Goodbye.
And never fight somebody who just has like scissors and a scalpel attached to their coat.
And
it's just like
and he has a whole arm of backpack full of Dr. Octopus arms, like covered in scissors. Yeah.
If Dr. Octopus himself put scissors on those arms, like no one would mess with that guy.
Dineeth is putting up a fight here. It seems unlikely that Kian's going to have the beef to kill everything on Objective 3. I don't think... I guess Celestine could maybe make a play over that side, but it seems unlikely.
Yeah.
I'll just check if anyone was wounded. Yep.
At least not this turn.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, this Exorcist can't really see anything. Maybe able to shoot a Chaos Space Marine if it's lucky.
Gotta imagine they pour into the Havocs over here to silence that. Celestine walks over, pops this Aspiring Champion, maybe, and then he's off of Objective 5 at that point, which is
I
kind of functionally the same thing.
Celestine's army looks like her role this turn is going to be to clear off Objective 4 in the center.
Yeah, that's a bit of a risk though, because he can't get to the Master of Possession, and then he can just saunter on himself.
Cool.
Although, I mean, it's still at that point 2-1. I mean, he gets heroically intervened into.
So I get 2 points for the engagement offense. I killed another character. You're up.
You did not.
Yeah, look, it's probably just going to be down to whatever your friendly table's interpretation is, or whatever the tournament packet says for that until Games Workshop remembers that they did that in 6 months.
So,
or next week. I mean, who knows? They're doing their best. We just got to get the Warhammer community people the authority to put out facts.
Let's see. So, one thing I don't know if we talked about so far yet is that Kian's taken Surround Them as her 3rd secondary, which is the mission-specific secondary, and it's a doozy.
Sorry?
You get 4 victory points if you control the objective markers in your deployment zone, and one of them in your opponent's deployment zone.
Yeah.
So I'm almost wondering if Celestine just books it to 5.
I mean, I feel like that might be the best play here.
Yeah.
Like we can just hop over, snipe out this Aspiring Champion. Engage the Havocs? Or do you not even... Do you snipe out the Havocs, then engage on the Aspiring Champion while standing on 5?
So it does score at the start of your turn. It's at the end of your command phase, so she does have to go and sit there for a round. But it's not like anything over there can kill her if she takes out those Havocs.
Yeah.
And she does ignore the difficult terrain because she flies. So that feels like the play to me, because what Dineeth's doing right now, which I think is really smart, is just crushing her on secondaries. Like it's 52 points to 22 right now. He has 10 points up on primary, but because he has an extra turn, but it is a big deficit.
I have a suspicion no while we stand we fight and no engage on all fronts will be scored beyond what's already been scored by the end of this game.
Yeah, I think that is likely for sure.
Thirdly, the end of this game was kind of like what we said at the beginning. A lot of these secondary choices felt
I think he does
a little
have
risky.
The option for to get another engage on all fronts. Certainly, if not all these characters die, like characters are excellent at scoring engage on all fronts. So
yes.
Well, I mean, what do you throw into lower left corner with the rhinos in it?
Well, you only need 3, right? So
through a window.
Is it 3?
but-
I thought it was one each. Oh, never mind.
No, you double
It's gonna
score.
be
If I remember
really
correctly, you
rocket
double
through
score.
Bell's
You
thinking.
get 3 points if you have all 4 quarters.
Clear shot is a clear shot, right?
Yeah,
Let's
you
go
have
then.
to have units wholly within 3 table quarters, and you score 3 if you have them in all 4 table quarters.
Okay.
So that's how Dineeth has 5 points so far, is because it looks like he double scored last turn.
Yeah.
Yes. Follow.
Where's this
someone
candidate
turn
going?
three.
Where?
She's trying to stay within 6 inches of those exorcists to keep them
And
rerolling
if
ones.
this is not
Who's gonna
touching
fight this
objective,
possessed?
So I can
Um,
finally move these girls off.
who knows? The battle sanctum. Go get it.
I mean, maybe they get. I mean, there's
I know,
a
it's
20-foot tall Imagifer inside there, and they have proven they're not
Four.
good at killing those.
Yeah, that's true.
And now,
Sam's found Wowie Sam when you fight as a trap. It's
I don't-
it depends on what you have. I don't like it on these characters because I think the characters are too easy to kill. But like big beefy stuff that your opponent actually has to like really consider killing is I think it's interesting, especially if it's stuff that like you don't really want to attack.
Yeah, I love it in my Nurgle Hollow army.
Yeah, yeah. If it's just
like-
on like big demon princes and things like that.
Yeah, it's like a demon prince that's hiding 10 miles back. It's on a grid and clean one with like a
Right.
it's
Yeah,
giant.
the
stack
grid and
of
clean one is
defensive
like the most
abilities.
inefficient thing to target, right? Like in the entire game, and so you just don't want to have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like I think the list that we're seeing running around the Invitational right now that have like Magnus and the souped up Lord of Change.
Yeah,
I think
telling you,
like
that
those,
Birdman.
like, yeah,
telling you.
Harvey over there is really. You mentioned it during our faction review, and I sort of wrote it off. But after seeing the number of lists that have him in it in the Invitational, I was like, oh, I clearly may have miscalculated.
Price before it's not even what he does. It's just what he doesn't do, which is ever die.
Yeah, and
Like-
that's so important right now.
Yeah.
But like Magnus and killing that guy, right?
Megas
in
also
games,
casting
like-
4 smites a
Do you
turn
have one with
now,
it?
currently.
So, sorry?
You had one with
Yeah, between the two of them, they just blast out
Yes,
like
one's one.
11
Just
smites.
do the
Yeah.
heavy bolters first, man.
They are difficult smites. But,
One for
They're not. Well, they both have +2, so
yeah.
nothing.
Forced to wound.
one of them can get +3 pretty easily, and you can blow the strat on the Keeper of Secrets to give rerolls to all Zinch models within 6 inches of them, so then they can get rerolls on all of them as well.
One dies.
And then I think on the last one you could just spend a CP to cast one auto at
Two
9.
left there.
It's only
Although I
on,
guess
horror,
the
right?
4th one. Oh yeah, you're right. It is horror model only.
Don't
Oh,
know
you
if the other
might have
is-
one of those in there.
if This is
Who knows?
technically obscure.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
they
wait,
have sloppy
no,
bio
no.
members to fill out the detachment is like the Lord of Change guy and then a bunch of Nurglings. Like a million like 30 Nurglings.
That guy plays the pipe organ better than these tanks do.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
I don't know if that's true. He doesn't kill 30 possessed by playing his pipe
Maybe.
organ at them.
Maybe yours don't.
Looks like Celestine's remaining on objective 4. He's gonna just be fighting over that. It's a little dangerous,
But
I think.
Fabius on top of that, he's got 3 extra attacks.
I mean,
with,
what, you fire the Flamer to the Possessed, charge the Exalted Champion, and then you have 2 on 4.
extra urgent.
You're
Yeah,
holding
just-
that, and then this Rhino is probably going to charge his Havocs, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that really matters because like killing the Havocs at this point, I mean, you
I don't
probably
mean
kill
kill it,
them
I
with
mean
the
just-
Exorcist,
Oh,
right?
Just keeps them from shooting.
Like they'll just die. The Havocs are just gonna die. Something's
No.
gonna kill them. But I was expecting
heavy
Celestine to
bolters
go over
into
there
your
to charge them, and you shoot them with a heavy
Yeah.
bolter or something, and then you charge onto the objective, and you wipe them with Celestine.
Down to your 2 possess.
I mean, what's the benefit of 5/4? Because that what does that give
It
them?
gives you
They
it
get
gives you those 4 points for surround them.
5 ups.
Oh yeah.
One of the 3.
And,
Maybe the assumption's the Rhino will do it. Just kill all of them.
You
know?
Yeah, I
through.
mean, what are we looking at for miracle dice here? Can we see some crazy things happen? We have 2 5s. We could
Yeah.
auto pass that charge and
So these 5 are gonna shoot
just
Yeah.
blitz onto objective 5 with the Rhino.
your Marines,
Yep, sounds good.
I think.
I do want that to happen now. I want like heavy bolters on the Exorcist to kill like exactly 4 Havocs.
Yep, I'll just
And this Rhino goes and runs over the last one for the victory.
yeah, I'll do it. I'll react.
Didn't
to
one kill a
guys.
Possessed before?
Sorry.
I mean,
oh,
we've
you've already started rolling. I'm sorry. man.
seen it happen.
No, don't worry. That's fine. I'll just take the steps.
That was just a hit. They hadn't been wounded yet, so I was already been fine.
He's good in cover.
Okay. And then both these right. Oh shoot! I've got the heavy bolters into the
Okay,
box.
go for it, go for it.
Yes.
So at least Kian at this point can start
Alright.
scoring, grind them down.
I'm
So
done.
potentially
Take this fella.
she could fight back on objectives, on secondary objectives. She's gonna get
Right. So both
10
rhinos
for
are
raise the
gonna dump
banners
everything
probably,
in the
because
box.
nothing's gonna touch these two back objectives.
Oh,
Yeah.
that wasn't done.
No, that was the this
And-
guy because I
Oh,
forgot
sorry,
to
it
do
wasn't. Yeah. No,
She's
you're right,
gonna. She could potentially get 9 on grind them down and 12 or
Size the rhinos.
8 on surround them.
One.
So if she does all that, that should be enough to get her the W, I think, through Dineeth's lead.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that like first mover's advantage of just being able to occupy
Right.
center of the board for most of the game. Like you start out
Yeah,
so
but
far ahead. Like your opponent gets a countercharge into you, but I mean, unless they can flush your entire army off of those middle two objectives, you're still holding them at the start of your turn. Like you're still running up that objective
Yeah,
really far.
exactly. Yeah, it's very difficult. And not to mention that you get the first opportunity to leave objectives too, which is kind of an interesting benefit as well. On round 5,
Yeah.
you've already scored when it comes to your turn to your movement phase, so it doesn't matter where your models are standing on the last turn of the game.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, true for the defending player, but it lets you be more aggressive more earlier, which is just the entire benefit of going first.
Well, this Kenneth gets to take a pot shot at your list.
Yeah, go for it.
So it looks like most of the possessed in the in the Kian's deployment zone are dead. Got a 1.
So most
But,
of the result of various bolters.
Fabulous
Rhino
Bill,
is
yeah,
zero.
and
Charging.
oh, here comes the Rhino. Yes. I want to see a cheeky Overwatch here. Shoot it with 3 las cannons. Like hope for some big numbers.
I want to see this thing move 3 inches, then consolidate 3 inches, and also touch this aspiring champion. I don't even know why I want that. I just want it to happen. I mean, it wouldn't actually benefit
that's
anybody.
that aspiring champion. That's the leader of the.
So
of the
let's
Havoc
lean
unit,
into
so
your
it's
Is it?
yeah.
champion.
Oh, I thought that was the.
He's
Oh,
got-
you're right.
I
It's
think he's got two-
aspiring, not. What's their other champion? that's-
Exalted.
And
Yeah.
possibly your master possession.
Yeah, he's got 2 very
Um,
similar looking models for his 2 champion types, and the Exalted champion's inside on objective 4 right now.
I feel like if they called the intercessor sergeant just like the intercessor master sergeant,
Yeah.
he didn't.
So, yeah, just your.
He was just the guy.
Yeah, well, Luke McCarthy in the chat. Have we found that the asymmetric maps have helped mitigate the first turn? So far, I think so. In the other version, in the standard version of
Rhino
deployment,
into
if you win
Exalted Champion
the roll to go
Yes.
first, there you will almost 100% of the time take first. And there are many times where I've elected to be the defender, even though it usually scores you less points. And almost all of my games on this
Facing both.
this version of deployment, and almost all the games that I've seen, have
And
been
then
extremely
Canoness
close.
into your possess.
Whereas I've seen a lot of them in the standard deployment type blow out one way or another really quickly.
And it-
I like it. I like it aesthetically. I like it conceptually. Like conceptually, the attacker is going to be on less secure footing when they're attacking. Like
and basic.
there's all kinds of ways that an asymmetric map of this type kind of like
So
works.
Yeah, it just feels good, yeah.
Yeah.
In the front to nature.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
I've liked it a
just
lot so
checking
far,
the
and I've
rules.
liked
If
playing
I
it a lot
roll
more than I have the
this
other
guy,
deployment type.
Yep.
That said, I don't know if
I
we
can
stick with
only
it. I
be
think it
swung
depends
at
on
the
where the
United
sort of the
Right,
competitive
like
scene
some
goes, but I do think it's superior.
Because heroic interventions are not declared on a target; they are declared from a unit.
I actually find it a little bit strange that
So
Games
if
Workshop
I
themselves
roll
didn't
X,
show
this
off
side can shoot me.
any sort of like
Yeah.
asymmetrically built maps because they
matter
do
what
seem
direction
to
you go.
have an emphasis much more on attacker versus defender, in at least their marketing and the way they talk
So
about
is he
things,
heroic
if not
intervening?
actually the way the rules play out. But they seem to have a greater emphasis on those 2 roles being something that actually plays out in the game right now. They just didn't do it in
So,
the actual setup of the
Right.
first turn of the game.
start with
Yeah, they're sort of
Rhino,
charging.
possess.
It's weird that like attacker and defender,
Not
like
charging.
there's no secondaries for those,
right.
as an example.
Yeah, I think that would
Fabius?
mitigate the difference almost
Oh, I
immediately.
thought you wanted to
even
get
on the
other.
other
I guess
deployment.
Fabius would kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On average, Fabius kills them, so no.
But maybe there's another
was
GT
hoping-
packet coming out in the next.
Yeah, I was hoping to
Like-
just shoot off something.
What's better than a Gran Turismo? There can be like a
And I mean, I could have advanced and knocked you off the point anyway.
Like a NASCAR.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead with the
The
Rhino.
GT 500 book that just has another set.
4 attacks from the Rhino. Nothing. Celestine.
Yeah, the difference is
attacks.
the attacker gets to deploy more aggressively, but they also don't do any damage
Threes.
on the first turn typically. Unless there's outside of some very interesting, like sort of very skewed matchups.
I think you only have full
Typically you get to attack and you get to take table space, which is like you would normally, but you don't kill any models, and the defender basically gets the first chance to actually swing.
So I knocked you off that point anyway.
Luke McCarthy, so if you imagine the table is symmetrical, both players deploy, neither player knows if they're going to go first. Both players are going to deploy roughly the same. They're going to put their movable heavy weapons behind obscuring terrain that fully blocks them. They'll move their slower moving stuff to the front that gives them full access to the objectives. They'll hide them as best they can, but typically they won't be able to hide most of it. And then this is how it worked in every game that I've played so far like this. Like, both armies essentially deploy identically. And then whoever wins the roll-off just chooses to go first because there's just such a built-in advantage that they just end up winning seemingly most of the time. Like, maybe not...
Yeah, it's not 100%, but it's
not
like,
100%, but it is like...
It's like 60-40 or something.
Yeah, like, there's no... Not knowing you're not going to go first only matters if there are like mechanical choices you can make that would like benefit you if you went second, but also don't punish you if you go first. And like if you deploy hyper defensively and you accidentally like I don't know, lose the roll off and the other guy decides to go second because you screwed yourself by putting everything behind a castle.
Yeah, another thing.
I mean, then you lose anyway.
Another thing we haven't mentioned too that we also do in this under this system is that we let players choose the secondaries after they know attacker defender, and that I think is a huge part of it as well, because one thing that happens, especially in the standard deployment type, is that the attacker gets to pick. You both want to pick objectives that you're pretty good at, and the attacker just gets the first chance at them and can force you out of positions where you can do it, where you can get your secondaries. And usually the attacker will win pretty significantly because of their secondaries.
Yeah, the advantage I like is if you just take Domination, or did they change the name of Domination in the GT pack?
I think Domination, I believe it was changed. Or removed? Is it gone?
I thought they changed it subtly, but just renamed it otherwise. But like,
no, it's gone.
Is it okay? Well, Domination in the non-GT pack, it's just like, did you go first? Then you score this out fully. You get GG. But yeah, I mean, it's like,
no, it's in here.
It is there. Okay, yeah. I mean, like if you just take Domination, you go first. You step onto the objectives. That's scored at end of turn.
The GT packet is a little bit better designed for Domination because there's a lot more objectives with scenarios with even objectives. But yeah, the ones where there's 5 objectives and 1 in the middle, you're like, I guess I automatically score Dominate for free.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, even the ones with like 6, even the ones with even numbers, it's still not hard to do that.
It is more than half, so you have to have 4 out of 6, which is a little tough. Like, neither of these players would ever have scored Domination in this scenario, and they're both relatively aggressive.
I would have with the 2 armies that I'm playing most in 9th.
You're not playing this game, though.
Yeah, well, I could have been, okay? If I got 5 more points. Or if either of these players got, like, the flu or something.
So, Dineeth scored an additional 10 for holding 2.
Wait, did that Rhino that Rhino killed one?
It did. Straight up. Dude,
wait, no, don't they start... Don't they start with 5? It killed... Oh, no, wait, the Aspiring Champion is one of them.
Next,
even though he has a smaller base? No, it's the same base. It's just darker. More metal. The Rhino's just going to keep picking one off. How'd Celestine do over here?
The Havocs are also big. They're big boys because they're C5. They get like
Possessed? Are Possessed OPSEC?
Possessed are not.
Okay, so he has no refer. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think regardless of whether it ends up being like a 70-30 benefit to the going first player, or like 55-45, where it's a lot closer. The biggest issue with just randomly going first is like it's like deeply uninteresting. There was this whole network of like choices that you would make that made the game more interesting before, and now it just sort of like kind of plays itself. Like your decisions are obvious with where you deploy and whether or not you go first. And it's just, I don't know. It's like not as fun of a competitive game in that scenario.
Right.
It has been much more interesting to pick defender in
Yeah.
using these maps for sure. In some instances.
Well, actually, I just want to check one thing. I need to actually do
So-
this. I'm being lazy. Fabius is just going to buff the Marines. So what does he give them?
We're still in a
Plus
situation
strength.
where Kian could max her
Yeah, I'll keep
primary
that. So they will hit at strength 6.
if she scores 10 and then 15, right? She's
Yeah.
gonna score at least 10 every turn. There's not really any way to stop that.
All right. And
I do think it is
another
important
warp
that
time.
Dineeth tries
Goes
to
off.
stop that last 5 on
29,
primary.
so
3 mortal wounds on these girls.
I just don't know how.
So far
you do
ahead.
that.
why is
Second
it that when I throw 3 and 4 come out?
Nice.
Especially if you consider, well, I mean, that's if the Wabi stand we fight it, you can get scored at all. But yeah, the
Fabius, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Fabius Bile's just chilling in that ruin. Like, there's nothing over there that can kill him. Maybe Celestine books it over there in a turn or two.
yeah, Celestine. I mean, that's a trade anyway though, because Celestine also needs to go to 5 to grab that.
Yeah. And he did just move, I don't know if you saw, he did just move the
Master
Sorcerer
Possession
back
all the way back
behind-
there.
Master Possessions, yeah, behind
Yeah.
the forest. So Celestine it has
It's like
to
this network of choices.
has to leave to go kill him to
Yikes.
try to deny
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
This
leaving
is
that
good.
Calidus
This
out to
is
just get
really
las cannon was
Yeah,
a
that
real
was-
unfortunate.
That was awkward.
Play.
I mean, yeah, I guess she maybe didn't need it to kill the possessed. I wonder if that Calidus should have gone after one of these Havoc units. I think that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because she will cut them up. Even
Or
when
just
they're alive.
initially placing one of these rhinos in a place where it had free table space right at the start and could just run up the middle and start tagging these havocs 2 turns earlier. Like
Yeah, I think
Locking-
the Rhino
locking these
stood there
guys
for
in
a,
this chest.
a turn too
Yeah.
long, maybe. It's going to be a close finish, though, because
Yeah.
The 4 bolter shots from
I mean, we're
Marines.
35 points on primary for
Yeah.
Dineeth. He just has to hold on to max. He has to hold on to 2 objectives for this last round. It's going to be
Can you
so
imagine-
hard with these all these sisters just flooding in, but he's killing them. He's getting
Can
them.
you imagine if Ash C had taken while we stand we fight instead?
That would have been good.
It just sat on 3 exorcists
Yeah.
and just
Just
hung
like,
out.
just put them
Man.
behind a ruin and just never move them. I don't
Yeah.
need to shoot you. Just
And
take my
1
15
bolt
points.
still from Ultimate.
Oh man, he's killed 4 of these sisters right so far with random gunshots.
That's fine. That's fine. These guys can't do anything. They're good.
So we're down to
Cool.
4 OBSEC
So,
models on
2, that's
Kian's.
finishing up. I'll get
side
3
over
for,
here.
Engage. I'll spec 2 for engage on the fronts. Just because I got dudes in this table quarter, this table quarter, and this table quarter. And I haven't killed a unit, so
And he's up to 7 on engagement,
Yeah.
all friends. Oh boy.
No, in your charge phase, a heroic intervene.
yeah, it's getting a little rough.
what's that? Sorry.
Heroic intervention, you're 2.7 inches away.
Okay.
So at this point, this battle sanctum might actually be more of a curse than a blessing.
Yeah, just this big idiot that's blocking your
Yeah.
deployment zone. Yeah.
Yeah, just locking your entire army into it, or all of your tanks behind it anyway.
Well, the this area terrain in the middle here, you can move. You can pass tanks through that.
I'm good. That's a shame.
Oh, they just Kool-Aid Man through these?
Yeah, yeah. The area terrain they do. The obstacles.
And then consolidate to
Don't-
base you.
So, but just this one on this big round
I
base.
think that might actually
Yeah.
be worse off, right?
Well,
Surprised.
we did make
Surprised.
a big misplay from Dineeth here. He triggered a heroic intervention from Celestine.
You can swing back.
I don't know if you can hear that, but that was the inbreathing through the teeth
Oh yeah,
maneuver.
that was pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
okay.
3 attacks.
All right,
I'm so
Glad everyone could hear that, because
Death to the False Emperor.
it's really gonna help her leapfrog over to this master possession.
Yeah.
And
Unless it doesn't die.
Yeah, 1,
I don't think it died. Wait.
Yes.
Oh no.
what? That's impossible. Really?
And you get 10 priority as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
it took 1.
Doesn't she do 2?
I thought she did.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
She definitely has a 2 damage weapon.
Well,
How does it?
Huh.
But it doesn't have a DPR. How does that occur? How did that? What?
yeah, Canoness is going to
I'm confused.
I'm confused too.
Yeah.
Because these are not Nurgle possessed because they did the fight twice, so they don't have any sort of. Well, they wouldn't have disgustingly resilient anyway, because it doesn't give them that.
Those
so,
girls more around like grab a 1, they pass.
how?
2 miracle dice.
She can't just.
3 and a
Oh, he
6.
just made every
This
save.
is
Yeah.
my first hold.
But I still, how do you go down to 1 wound?
No, he
When
was
you're
already on
attack-
1 wound from bolt guns earlier.
Okay. Yep.
That's actually a
explains-
huge freaking deal. Oh
Yeah,
no!
It really is.
Oh no!
It means she can't leave and assault something
She
else.
cannot.
Oh no. She does not. And strangely enough, her weapon's not a pistol, her flamer. So
flamethrower,
yeah, so she's
It was-
She lives there now.
There's no, they can advance in charge, but there's no fallback.
And
in charge,
she
right?
jumped
oh, no, I
off
think
of-
there's a fallback in charge, right? I think you can.
She-
Is the what's the
I don't know.
devastating
I thought that was
or whatever it's
I
called?
thought that was Bloody Rose only.
Celestine
let's
is
take a
now
look.
eligible to fall back.
The
shoot,
Bloody
and
Rose
charge.
strat is +1 to wound.
That's good.
Oh yeah,
Well, she's
using
doing it.
strat to
Okay.
fall back in charge, yeah.
I was gonna say she also
Yeah, there's a
left
fallback
the
and shoot. I
objective to
forget
do
if
that
it was
too.
fallback and-
So like the Rhino couldn't even leave.
Should be 7.9 away from him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least it just cost CP. That could have been
All right.
devastating. Whew.
I mean, it's still
Crisis averted.
Okay.
But it looks
Close
like
enough
the
to
master
play
possession will probably survive.
Nice.
So that's at least 5 on while we stand.
yeah.
Oh man, is Dineeth gonna win this game
Sister's
with like no models left on the table?
Tag that.
I'm just flooding the board for the first 2 turns. This is such a good play. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it turns out surprise chat going first is really good.
and just the wall of bodies. I mean, I think we were saying ourselves, right? This sisters list is really sort of the style of an 8th Ed army.
So,
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that I think we're seeing a lot is that these really powerful backline
Everything Celestine
shooting
you possess.
gallery, or, fire batteries are really good, but they also
shots.
don't.
It's hard to score
They
with.
don't stand on objectives.
Yeah, and even they don't even do
Okay.
secondaries that well.
Yeah.
3 ups in cover.
Yeah, you have to be playing them
Good.
for those grind them downs, but man, this is a hard list to score grind them down against. We
both
called it
these
at the start.
successes
That I don't
gonna
think that
dump
secondary
everything
pick was
to
correct at
house,
all.
that's the only thing
Look, McCarthy, my brain did explode. I'm clinically dead.
A number of shots.
I pre-recorded all of this hours ago. Like I'm just a corpse in a chair.
Yeah, this is a rebroadcast actually.
Yeah.
R.I.P. This is in remembrance of Shima.
What's it? Sung Soo is just like doing his best impression of me right now, but it's not even me.
No, where's your cannons?
We should have some pretty cool people on to be co-hosts. Cooler than Shuma anyway in the future.
It's not hard. I'm dead.
End of this.
Oh, I mean maybe it's hard because I'm cold.
Thursday and Friday we should have Scary on from Scarcast, and
You said colder than me.
yeah. Oh damn, shots fired. And
That's actually pretty cool.
I'm trying to work out a date, but I should have the crew from Tabletop Titans on as well
Ooh,
to commentate some games.
that is solid.
And then the,
So you're right.
this
Well,
rhino
if by cool you
shooting-
mean people with much larger,
There's no such thing as
followings
color
than me, maybe more attractive, maybe more successful in life, then yes. But
That's
not all there is to
It's-
being
it's not
cool.
every metric.
For vehicles, there's no longer a distinguishing factor between spokes and whatever other crap.
Okay. Cool.
Because in 8th edition, it was a specified rule. In 9th edition, there is no such thing. Therefore,
Yep, go for it. That's fine.
Yeah, someone's dropping some science.
and on 5s, nothing.
Can we clear off this last cannon to get objective 5?
Oh, shoot. Forgot to move to 6 versus.
Andy Oakham, these demon lists with the Lord of Change, what are they doing to make them unkillable? They have
So.
The Impossible Robe for a 3-up invuln.
yeah with Weaver of Fates, right? They go down to a 3 plus invulnerable save, and then
Yep.
they have
no,
-1
they it's just a 3-up invuln. Just by being a siege
because
model,
they
they
have
get +1 to it.
and then they
Warlord
usually
trait?
get the
Havoc.
-1 to wound from the Exalted trait.
So it's -1 to be hit from the Exalted trait. Then there's a
-1 to
Warlord
hit,
trait. Warlord trait for -1 damage.
Right.
Just on against any source.
Then
Then there are other various other steroids they can give themselves, but mostly it's the fact that you're a 16 wound model with a 3-up invuln, a toughness of 6 or 7 or 8, depending on if you cast a spell on yourself. With -1 to be hit, or if you roll the Exalted, you could get a -1 to be hit and a 6++ that recovers wounds sometimes. But mostly it's just the number of wounds plus the 3-up invuln plus the rerolls. Like you'll save a few CP for rerolling that, and also the ability rerolls itself too. And the -1 damage is colossal. Like a Repentance Squad will smash into that dude and do like
and
4 wounds in total, and then he'll just like leave. If he even takes 4.
And Fabius.
Sorcerer and Fabius, yep.
So that's a
And he's
10
just
inch.
it's a huge based model, so he blocks
That's,
movement
8
really well.
inch.
Yeah, and even if you engage
I grab
him,
a
he's still
6 and a
smiting is
3.
almost all of his damage output, so
Yeah,
he'll
it's-
just shoot like mine bullets at you.
He has 5 strength 7 attacks hitting on 2s that
Yeah,
are -3 and do d6 damage.
they're pretty good.
So you just got that. Awesome.
Oh, also I guess you have the Locus of Change as
And
well, so like
Magify-
if you
yeah,
engage
Yeah,
with
not in the invitational
Yeah,
list though. 'cause
Magify,
they're-
oh yeah,
can
because they're using
deal
the
big
they got the little guy in there.
They got nerglings.
Full.
Yeah.
Should make it in.
Yeah, previously you would have used Brimstones, which were
Yep.
just drastically better
I just
Nerglings,
wanna
but
see, so-
no longer.
So,
Sadly, they're now like 5 points a model.
So Celestine made it into Fabius Bile.
Yeah, that's all the charges.
I'm just gonna do a neg 1 to hit Aura or Fabius.
Luke, I think we have yet to really see where like
We
the
need
good.
to say, oh yeah, we're using the grotesque,
Steven, let's start.
grotesque visage
Ooh,
stratagem here to give all of these sisters -1 to hit. Good God,
solid.
amazing. All right, Celestine, can you put down Fabius Bile for good? Nope, not with a bunch of 1s.
And 3 students.
Did we pick up a 1 there?
I put 1 on the little acolyte. And these will be.
Was that
6
three
ups.
hits or 4 hits on Celestine swings?
3 plus explosion.
Oh, and he's okay, gotcha.
6 ups. Cool. And then 5 up FNP.
Unfortunately, -1 to be hit.
I'll spend.
Only a slight defensive buff against
F5.
like hits
Yeah,
on
against
2s.
2+, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
Excellent.
bam!
That was a very, very lucky.
What? You just made
Yeah,
5
cool.
DPRs.
I
Nope.
obviously hit interrupt, so let's go for it.
Never mind.
Let's go.
Oh no, but he lost his
He lost
friend.
his friend. No, that was crazy.
It's gonna be all
This
sorry.
poor
So
Celestine,
she's
man.
going to
She's just like,
consolidate
all I want to do
up
is
for
purge
her
the
figure.
heretics with my flaming sword of righteousness.
Then Imagify going to attack base.
It's not
Fabius
the
and
sword's not on
punch
fire.
The Space Marine.
It's got like a bouquet on it.
Sounds good.
Is it on fire in her model? Doesn't she?
Is it?
Doesn't she have a glowing sword?
It's on
Isn't that her thing?
fours.
Let's look.
Nothing.
I want to shout out this
Does-
this pretty good play from Kian here of the assault phase.
No, it's like a hyper generic power sword.
Oh, lame.
2, 4, 5.
Celestine moved into
Nice.
within an inch of Fabius Bile, but closer to the sorcerer. Then got to attack Fabius Bile, and then use her consolidate to then move up to the sorcerer and move outside of an inch of Bile. And then she based Bile with the Magifier. So she was able to hit and run with Celestine in and out of his engagement
I guess
range,
I'll
and
just do a
then just
message
lock
back.
him up with the other character.
The sorcerer will just
Pretty
go to
cool.
Celestine.
Pretty cool play
So
right
for
there,
attacks,
everybody.
It's an interesting play. The sorcerer doesn't do that much less damage than Bile though.
Wound. These will just be invos. 2 invos on the
How many
Saints.
attacks does Fabius Bile have?
Next one. Fabius.
Bile's got like
Oh,
what,
that's
one more attack.
Yeah. Oh, the sorcerer's only got a sword,
So
so
I killed one.
he's at least winning on 3s.
Let
Does
me
he-
just check. I think it's D3 damage. Yeah.
Should be. Most weapon.
Winning on. Aren't they both? Is Fabius up to
Fabius
strength 6 now?
is gonna
I think
put
his
five
stick
attack.
always wins on 2s. Right? The Rod of
Oh,
Torment.
actually, you know, I'll roll it.
I thought that's what the
5
Churchin
attacks.
did. The Rod and Torment was just like
To
a.
start with.
I don't even. Let's look. Fabius.
Fabulous Bill.
Fabby boy.
2s, 1 dead to the False Emperor,
Let's do this for the edification of all.
and 2s.
Rod of Torment. When attacks made to this vehicle against a its only ability is that it's bad against vehicles.
Oh, okay.
He's strong.
Yeah, it was the Churchin.
So it's 3s minus
Oh, the
so
Churchin's his
3
backpack,
invos.
and he just makes three extra attacks
Yeah.
Well,
with that weapon.
who's that -1? Right?
So yeah, the Rod of Torment's.
Uh,
Celestine sitting on 2-up.
I think so.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Rod of Torment's
one
actually probably not. He's not that great of a platform to kill her. If anything, the Sorcerer may actually be a better platform.
Be better.
Yeah.
He punches through an extra point of
Albert?
armor.
Yeah.
And I'll just check what his exact.
I guess the boss probably like twice as many attacks. He's probably still better.
Let's just see. So he's got 3
So
extra strength, 4 neg 2, 1 damage attacks. And then that's it.
Ooh,
Cool.
if you just put this Imagifier down to 1, or is it the Imagifier that was already on 1?
Fused hits.
I mean, great if
And three swings.
this
See, every
somehow
Imagifier in the game
yeah,
is always at 1.
somehow a third Imagifier just appears in the list and then also gets put down to 1.
I'll do the 1 Havoc, Aspiring Champion.
Ah, the Imagifier lived through that? Oh, that's frustrating.
Explodes to the Force Emperor.
That's that glorious ignore 1 AP going through.
I just want
Was it ignoring 2 at this point?
rank.
Yeah, it should be.
That's
Oh,
pretty
so
good against
it's
the
just the last cannon I did.
Trojan, which is AP2.
And then Dispossessed.
Torin in the chat.
attacks?
Rapid fire pods
2.
are live right now,
So-
and the standard pods will start after the invitational.
1 Death Force
And then also the
Emperor.
Youngbloods. We have Youngbloods going right now, and we should have another
And
Youngbloods event starting next
fives.
week.
2
So if you just want to play
-2s.
casual games, then that's where that will be.
So 2 more on that tank. Cool. Awesome. And then these Marines. So 5 attack. Aspiring Champion, sorry.
Master of Possession has a chance now to just come charging back in and charge this Rhino and take control of 4 again.
So 3s. I didn't do precincts.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess so.
3s.
I don't know that it's
I would be
to
super
explode.
worried
Not a
about
great
getting
idea,
shot by
but,
an Exorcist,
you know.
but I think if he stays on this area behind the wall,
Yeah.
I think it's tough for an Exorcist to draw line of sight to him.
Onto the Sisters of Battle. 3 go through.
Oh man.
Apparently, I just had 3 ups today.
Oh
Oh, no.
I really want to know.
So I still-
This isn't even the combat I'm interested in on 3. The combat I'm interested in is on Objective 5.
All right.
Were those the Chaos Space Marines?
Yeah, I was just gonna see. I literally can't take it back from this.
Yeah, so
I thought that was the Trojan.
So I got 10.
Oh, maybe. Oh man.
Dice were just shitting
That's
on
so
me for half
brutal.
the game.
Yeah, so I think we
Sorry?
might see a play out here.
I
or
mean,
a
I know
talk
where
out.
I made mistakes, but dice were shitting on me for half the game.
Oh no, it's all good, man. I couldn't get a Psyche Power to go off. So I'm happy to concede there. I reckon
want-
you'll get one of them.
Roll the Rhino out. I want to see
I
it
reckon
kill the
you'll
last
get,
Havoc.
You'll get 4 points to surround him, and you got 2 for banners. But I'll get Assassinate now. I'll get another Engage on the fronts. I'll just move the Possessed out, so yeah.
I mean, yeah. So this last one would be probably go here. So, yeah,
So all I
this
do
will-
is, like, I just get this Possessed out here for Engage on the fronts.
so the Havoc would die, the Possessed would die.
Yeah. I'll stretch. There's only 1 turn left in the game, so yeah, 1 grind them down. You'll get your banners.
So yeah, it looks like we're gonna talk out
you
the
won't be able to get to here.
final result here.
Oh wait, do your Havocs feel? Can your Havocs feel morale?
Let me just see. Yeah, they could. Just roll 3.
It was those secondaries.
45 plus 40.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Like, ugh.
That was brutal on the secondaries.
Yeah.
These points values are inflated, artificially inflated by 10
Let's see. Well, let's see if I get double
Um,
force around them. No, would it?
because of the scoring shit.
Yeah.
But so we should be at 85
Okay.
to 51.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, because both these players are
Okay.
painting their armies to a battle-ready standard.
Because
Because they're not actually. A lot of these have no paint other bases.
I really, this game is all about, like, if I could get the Repentia dead, and then I could be a bit more free.
I know
Both
what.
these
I
players
know
would
the
be docked
mistake
10
I
points
made.
for that.
Should have kept 1 squad of Repentia sitting inside.
Yeah, I think
Well,
Kian
second way.
recognizing Hermes play there.
Yeah, I
Getting all 3
because then you just have more tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, I overestimated their reach because that advance was terrible.
Mm.
So I couldn't get a proper blanket here.
Sorry, where was that? Around here.
So yeah, I couldn't because the advance coming out of the Rhino here for that new trap. Then I couldn't.
Yeah. I really liked how, like, you've obviously got experience playing with the sisters, like the way you used your miracle dice, just save them for those key, like, big charges at the end. That was really good. I think I had to be, I had to be really careful because I actually thought my characters would be a bit more vulnerable. Because like this is a totally different type of list that I'm learning to play, but then I realize it has more strength than the Death Watchers used to. So like inherent just pushing power. So I don't know. Yeah, I think putting all three of the Repentia units, you could have just gone one at a time.
No, I needed to force 2. I think.
Well, it's hard, right? Because you need all your characters nearby. So if you send one in and you kill like a unit of possessed, let's say, and then I send the other unit of possessed onto the characters, I just get points. So it's hard anyway. Which is kind of why I took the assassinate. Because I haven't played much Ninth. I've probably played about 5-6 missions. And I've still, I'm still feeling points. It's just hard to get. So like anywhere you can get like 4 or 5 points, it's just golden. So and like the possessed don't really mean anything in terms of points. So I don't know. Yeah. I actually like the addition of the Battle Sanctum. It's kind of cool. It's so cheap.
It's kind of like a cheesy thing in this list. Just, like slap it down somewhere. And... I just wish Vindicares were better.
I was afraid you'd switch to a Vindicare, and that would have been terrifying. Like absolutely terrifying.
Just parking on here.
Yeah, like. I mean, sure, he can be shot, like, but otherwise it's terrifying.
Oh, put him on the balcony, and then just put a squad of Battle Sisters inside here, and you can't shoot them.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. Wow, I need to look into that. That's a really cool option.
Yeah, like I know I can fit exactly 5 in here, and from the angles you can't see through the windows.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, do you have a big like 40k scene in terms of where you play, like in Singapore?
Not really.
No. Yeah. So I was gonna say, like, if you ever started doing like tournaments and things, you guys could get like a team for like WTC and things like that, because you are definitely one of the best sisters players I play. I know you only said you started quite recently.
February, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be something that. If you ever want to do it.
I might, but it's not exactly a very big scene.
Yeah.
So if I park sisters in here, then you basically can't shoot them because you can't get line of sight to anything unless they're like they have to be like 2 stories tall to see them.
Yeah, like 4 buffers, Lord of Spells to see them.
Yeah. So you just sit up there the whole game, standing on top of the objective.
Jeez, that's huge. That's so good. I'll tell you what, man,
I would wonder about that, because that is certainly not the design of this model
for my characters,
in real life.
And I was terrified of you swapping to a Vindicator.
But I suppose...
It does have that big balcony.
Oh, that would have got me.
I think it's pretty close.
Yeah.
The windows go all the way down to the floor, though.
Save at least one of those.
There's no lip you can actually hide behind.
Yeah.
Frustrated me because on average she survives that volley.
Yeah, that's right. On average it's 3 and 2.
I don't think the balcony goes inside.
I guess
on average she survives the volley, then she kills the Havocs. And then I can score like 12 for surround them.
Yeah, like I'm looking at the model on this thing now. You can't hide anything anywhere on it. It's almost completely see-through.
Anyway, I better hop off, Kian, but hey, thanks for the
even
game.
the balcony itself has like
Trevi, do you need anything from us before we finish up?
No, that should be good. If you have to hop off, if you have a second to talk, we'd like to.
Yeah, I got a bit of time, man. Like
give you a little debrief. Yeah. So, well, congratulations on winning the first game of the Invitational.
Thanks. It was I've played Kian before, and last time we played, I got smashed. So this is a nice turn of the tide.
Yeah, and definitely it looked like a knife fight at the end there. It was just sort of Fabius Bile and his cohort of Chaos Space Marines on an objective, just sort of making sure that you could prevent those extra 5 points. Seemed like a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I was going to just mention, Trevi, I've got to apologize to anyone watching and to Kian as well. This is like the second or third game I'm having with this list, so I just potatoed pretty hard in like 6 different times. I forgot to do Fabius's Aura turn 1 and like thought I was all going to fall apart. So apologies if that was really slow for everyone, but I'll try and make the promise that I'll get a bit quicker.
Yeah, no worries. That's why we put you on a clock, so there you go.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, do you have a second to tell us about the list? Because it's, I think, certainly probably the most off-the-wall list that's in the entire top 16 right now.
So, thanks, man. I can't take the credit at all. One of my good pals from All Blokes, Liam Hackett, who's one of the Team Australia players for WTC, actually made the list for me. And we had a few sessions of walking through it and why the Bile possessed are good. And it's essentially because you automatically get to strength 6. You automatically get bonus movement, and you can use them as a big debuffing unit. So,
with the minus with the hit aura, you mean?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to do it this game, but shooting it forward, if you get the warp time off, which, I got 1 off in 5 turns, but when you get the warp time off and you actually jet a unit forward, you hit whatever you want to hit, even if you're not trading well with that unit, and you just go everywhere into their line, and just for 1 CP, make a gun line neg 1 to hit can be quite frustrating. And there was a point in this game against Kian where I got a double wrap off on 2 different spots, and stuff like that starts to get frustrating as well. So that's why we lean towards it, as well as easy access to rerolls to hit from Master is Watching, and having the las cannons backfield. Anything they kill is just bonus. So
yeah, sure. And it seems like it's a list it's very much designed to play the mission more than deal a ton of damage, right? Like you're just trying to sweep up the center of the table, and even if you're possessed, you just trade all the possessed away for a bunch of primary points, that's fine, and then your characters can fight out
exactly right.
The game.
Yeah, what are people going to do? Get secondaries off the possessed? If people take the new Reaper one, it's not very economical at all against possessed, because they got 4 up invers sometimes, so that's not economical at all. So you can just use them as fuel for the fire, and most people
you can only score probably 7 or 8 points off that if you even if they take
10 points,
right?
Out.
Yeah,
I calculated it.
Yeah, so if that happens, and the time it takes to do that, you could, the way we thought about it, we could just push the possessed onto the middle objectives, and we'd have enough primary at that stage that it's okay for the possessed to be dead.
Right.
And then taking while we stand, we fight on the 3 key characters means they have to go for the characters on top of killing the possessed. So it's just a bit of a threat overload list, as well as having the ability to debuff things. So that's why we gravitated to it. Unsure if it'll actually have legs against, Matthew's Grey Knights, who's also in our group, because the big smites.
Yeah.
It's on paper it can kill paladins pretty well.
Big smites now, though, so that's nice.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
Did you think about? Did you feel? Do you question my choice to go second?
So I can't really comment, because I don't think I've played enough 9th to understand properly the 1st-2nd dynamic. I still think there's a huge amount of power going first, because you can just get to a nice spot early. But going second is still nice, because you can react to what I do. I'm actually not sure, Kian.
Yeah, because so yesterday I took a couple of rounds to sim against your list.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found was that, so if you go second, you're always picking this side, right?
Well, yeah. I think both of us want that side, right?
Yeah. So what happens is, no matter how I deploy, I'm not going to shoot. Well, I might get a few pot shots off at, say, a squad of Chaos Space Marines, but you have enough space to hide. All your possessed can hide here, and here, 1 squad each. And then your Havocs can hide behind those, and then your Chaos Space Marines are left stranded in the empty spaces, but whatever, you don't care about them.
Nah.
Yeah. And then I basically get nothing off. I move up, and then you just shunt all your possessed up and rat me.
Yeah, the risk is if the reason we liked the creations of Bile possessed as well, that flat 8 movement just gets them to the middle of the board. If you frontline them and you don't care about the opposition's guns, if you frontline the whole army, just move 8, all of a sudden it's a 4-inch charge to the center. That's phenomenal. That's before warp time and advance and charge and everything. So yeah, I think I think getting hit with like 20 at a time is definitely better than the full 60. But you know what? I think you did the right thing then to go second.
Because my sim was that the best position I could have gotten in would be something like this.
That's it. Yep. So you're just out of range.
No, so even if you warp time and charge, you can't do a full wrap because something like this.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, if you kill rhinos, you just get dudes out onto the objectives and you have it. So
yeah, or if I want to play defensive, I get them out. But yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
But then the issue I ran into was if your Havocs killed one rhino.
Yeah. And so that's the reason. The other reason we went kind of Mark of Slanesh on the Havocs and Mark of Khorne on the Possessed is because we have options to either shoot twice or fight twice, which means on the turn you really want to dump the damage. You can just funnel the CP into, let's say, shooting twice to kill like a rhino to do that, or fighting twice to get a big double wrap. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was going for, but very CP heavy, but yeah. I'm glad the list actually has legs because your army is amazing. Like it's so good at the mission. So
much worse in 9s than it was in 8s.
I think it's still alright. It's definitely better in 8th. But yeah, like there's some things it gives up, and having durable troops is quite important.
Maybe I'm still thinking I should have gone with 135.
The list I was about to submit was a pure Scions battalion with 11 Taurox primes. I nearly did it, but I'm happy I'm playing the Possessed now.
I was actually thinking about that. Like if I ran the 135, then I can just like steadily march up the board with 135 sisters.
Oh, you're crazy. That's
all ignoring AP -2, all with most of them with a 4-up inbound, all with a 6-up feel no pain.
Yeah.
All halving attrition from the missionary and all having an extra attack on the missionary.
Yeah, so like I can't kill that with 60 possessed, it just dies.
The possessed don't die. It just so I would just go first. I would advance everything and slog up to the mid board and just camp.
Just hang out, yeah, and you got the OPSEC.
135 OPSEC troops bubbling around 5 or 6 characters.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't do it was because I thought it would be the most boring shit ever.
Oh, true.
It would literally just be move up, roll a bunch of attacks, roll a bunch of saves. Most of the attacks would miss, most of the saves would succeed. And then just repeat this for 4 more rounds.
Yeah, that would be pretty wild. I mean, unless you come up against like 6 Wyverns, I think you're pretty good.
6
like
Wyverns, I don't care. That's what there's 4 inbounds for.
That's it, yeah. What do you think, Kian, about the other 2 lists in our pod, the Grey Knights and the AdMech?
Grey Knights, I historically have a good win rate against Grey Knights. I don't know how that will last in this edition, but my win rate against Grey Knights is something like 5-0, 5-1.
Nice. Well,
no, 5-1,
funny
yeah.
Because mine's the exact opposite. It's 0 wins to 6 losses, so you better take that one for me.
And then against Mars, against the AdMech, it's pretty much who goes first.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
If I go first, goodbye chickens. Or goodbye tanks, or goodbye something. If he goes first, then I better hide. But I'm playing against him on the Scorched Earth map, which has a shit ton of obscuring. So.
Ah, true. I can't remember which one I've got, but I know. That's definitely the matchup where I want to go first and just shoot the Possessed right up the board and touch everything I can, and then just pop the neg one. Thanks,
I was more confident in this match because I thought, but then I screwed up with the Rip and Show.
Oh, look, it's always hard, and I guess hey, you win or you learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, thanks, Trevi.
Awesome.
I was going to say, credit to the list goes to Liam Hackett from the Normal Blokes. Definitely not me, but pleasure to be on, mate.
Yeah, thanks for popping on. Congratulations on the win, and we will see you two in your subsequent games. I'm excited to see some more games from you.
I have one
Awesome.
more tomorrow, and I believe Trevi will be asleep at the time.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to catch that one, but we should be live tomorrow. I think we have Colin Burns versus Nick Rose on tomorrow, which will be a fun one.
Ooh, that's cool. That's cool.
Bunch of little tiny vehicles shooting missiles at each other.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hey, Cullen,
Alright.
Cullen is not shooting missiles. He's shooting sound waves.
This is true. Well, he's got some missile launchers, I think, on his walkers, right? So.
Oh, that's true. Mostly it's the sound waves. Sound cannon.
Yeah, the fiber cannons. Yeah, those are brutal.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, that'll be a fun
peace,
game.
guys. Take it easy.
Yeah. Thanks for popping on, and have a good one.
Yeah.
All right, Shuma.
Okay.
That was that game. So there you go. Go first. Get a bunch of secondary points.
Yeah. I feel like we called many of the moments to our
Yeah,
credit.
we did. I think the repention charge was a bit interesting. I think we went back and forth on that a little bit. Definitely felt like charging all 3 units was a little bit too aggressive, and turns out that was correct. But yeah, wow, what an interesting game. I think kudos to Dineeth for pulling it out and sort of remaining calm under pressure. I think.
Yeah, certainly.
With like this board state at the end, he has like 8 models left.
Yeah.
But he he knows he's at the in a lead, and all he has to do is play this conservative game and keep his while we stand targets alive and just keep clearing this objective 3. So I think super heads up play from Dineeth, and a very cool list from him as well.
This feels like a new like meta paradigm. Like what would this even be called? Where you choke the center of the board for at least 4 turns and then win with nothing left.
You called it jam.
Jam.
Because you
just call it jamming.
Up. Yeah. And I think it's
jamming existed before, but you sort of like you were face planting into the opponent's deployment zone, whereas now it's really just
into the sort of the center of the table.
Yeah.
And I do think that it is a direction that the game will be going in the not too distant future. I mean, we're already seeing these lists with 50 Nurglings in them, right?
It's the design of all of my armies.
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, know how to fight the middle really hardcore is going to be the name of the game in 9th edition. So you heard it here first, folks. But we will be back online tomorrow with, like I said, I believe that we're going to be streaming Cullen and Nick Rose. I have to double check our schedule, but that will be scheduled up on the channel, and that we'll get the streams posted up. And if you're on the Discord, they'll be in the stream schedule. And if you are on TTS40k.com, they'll go up in the invitational page as well, so that everybody can know when to tune in. And if you're interested in participating, like we were talking about before in the stream, we have pods available right now. Rapid fire pods are currently live. They have an entry fee, but you get cool prize support if you win. And we have casual games as well that don't count for standings points, but you can join a big group of people and just grind some games. So come join the Discord.
40K.
Play that 9th edition.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me, Shuma. I think we had a good time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
And thanks, everybody, again for tuning in. That's going to be all for us today, folks. Keep it classy.
Good night, everybody.